on my shit. Back then, I paid $30 for it. Now, if you have the complete set, I think it goes for like $3,000.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
That's crazy.
fucking the manga editions of Jason's Chandra, those goes for an absurd amount now. And I'm like, those are the 2 cards I actually do wish I had kept. But now they got fucking Junji Ito doing card art, and I'm like, fuck you. I want it. How dare you?
You son of a bitch.
Especially for, I think one of it was for Elish Norn. It's like, oh good, one of my favorite Praetors. Thank you. I hate you.
Alright. Let's do this. And just
Morphin
audio
time.
checks first. Audio check. We're going to speak a little bit into this mic. Actually, it doesn't even matter because the video closed for some reason. Alright, let's try that again. Alright. We're talking for sure.
We talk.
One at a time, multiply at a time sometimes. Who knows? We'll see.
Alright, I think we all sound pretty decent.
I'm going to just turn Kel's up a little bit.
Crank me.
Crank
Turn
me,
David
daddy.
to 0%.
Crank me harder, daddy.
Until David walks off the podcast because he's mad that we muted him for Portal 2.
It's fine. We're not talking about Portal, so it's fine.
Yeah. I feel like you can't make it to episode 200 even without someone angrily walking off at some point. Unironically.
Although technically that was specifically Games Gone By. I haven't walked out on Blue Rupees.
That's true. Alright. Let's do this. Alright. Welcome. Actually, no, hold on. Welcome to the Blue Rupees Podcast, episode number 251. I'm Adrian. That's David. Kels is here. We're doing this again. Let's see how much we talk about games this week. We'll see. We make it a little bit of the ways. Do you think if we hosted a podcast where we had to stay on one topic the entire time, how long do you think we'd last until or rather, how many quality episodes do you think that podcast lasts? Because we could do it, but we'd be incredibly bored or antsy to end the podcast to talk about something else.
We can't even get through Games Gone By focusing on one fucking
That's what
game.
I mean. That's what I'm saying. We gotta start that.
Well, haven't you heard? Apparently, it's like a dry spot for games right now.
Yeah, I mean,
so
there's barely anything coming out worthwhile nowadays.
Yeah, nothing to play. Ugh.
We talked about this, and I still stand by what I said. I think there's just too many games. It's like that Expo, too many games. There's just so much to play, and everyone's got all access to it, and also everyone is just divvied up a bit, like the Fortnite crew sticking on Fortnite, right? Like you got it's like I don't know. There's just too much stuff. So like even Final Fantasy, David had to force himself to finish because it was a bit of a slog at the end. But hopefully we'll have time to talk about that because you didn't get to talk about that last week. But we'll hopefully get to you talk about that. But there's just a lot of stuff. And people don't cherish what they got. I don't, and I get it because I don't have to, right? That's.
But I mean, think about it. Every genre is popping up harder than ever before. Fighting games have entered into a monkey's paw. A monkey's paw golden age, where we have banger fighting game release after banger fighting game release, just with more monetization than you can shake a stick at after launch. RPGs are popping off left and right. In the span of 3 months, we've had 1,200 plus games.
Yeah, anyone who's in the JRPGs is literally set for the rest of the year. They shouldn't.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
Fucking shooters have had some insane surprise drops coming out lately. There's just basically the only ones not eating well right now are RTS fans, and even then it's because give it a little bit. The old Blizzard Crew's RTS is coming out soon. As well as I think we have a new Age of Something coming out soon.
I also appreciate I appreciate people like Summonary Gamers and Moist where they're like, let's just play old games. If you're really that hell bent on there's no good games out, then play old games. I'm
there's plenty out there.
I'm getting we talked about that last week. I think me and Kel's on the same boat. I'm antsy to play Gears again. I really want to play Gears again right now. He's going through Gears and he's just talking about how amazing Gears 1 and 2 are. I'm like, oh man, I really want to play those games right now. But there's other games we got to play.
That is the series I do want to go through in its entirety of. I've played 1 and 2, and that's kind of
Gears of War?
Yeah.
Say less, dude. I'd happily walk that. 3 is so
up
good.
There for one of my like top games of all time.
Dude,
3 is incredible.
I'm just gonna say, Kels, you know, but Mad World in Gears 3, what a fucking moment. That moment is like, it's like, you know, like Halo 3, there were some moments where like, all right, you guys built up for the trilogy for like these specific moments. Gears 3, there's like one slow-mo moment where Mad World's playing, and it just like, it crushes you. It crushes you as a human. And it's funny because like Gears gets that like bro shooter, right? Because it really is like, feels like the bro shooter. But anyone, and it was like, that was with console wars time too, right? So Sony always like shat on it, PlayStation fanboys shat on it for that. But it really had some really good storytelling in it. I stand by the only thing I disagree with is I think they should have changed the frequency of audio chatter of the crew when you guys are going through a big moment, because there's a big moment in Gears 2 that also crushes you, but like right when you get back out of the cutscene, they're shooting, they're like, fuck yeah, headshot, fuck you, like they're just like screaming obscenities, like as if like something terrible had not just happened to one of them. If they fixed that, if they literally just like had an option like, or they turn the volume down, keep everyone quiet for the rest of the level, that would have been stellar. But there's some really good story beats in the first 3, especially 3. 3 pays off so much, it's insane. Really, I think it's one of the best trilogies in video games. I think not the best, I know not the best, but I think one of the most like stand out, like every entry's quality, I think.
Yeah, like
I mean, I can definitively say that the last 3 chapters of Gears of War 5 was a well put together experience and not a buggy in the slightest.
I think Gears 5 has. Yeah, I appreciate what they were trying to do. I played
the last 3 chapters.
I appreciate what they were trying to do, but I don't think it bodes well, because it's like, unless you guys are really gonna commit to it and like divert the paths in Gears 6, I think it's one of those like, all right, well, one of you guys got a canon ending, the other one just not, which I don't know. I think we can spoil Gears 5 at this point, right? Is that an issue with that? I don't see any issue with that.
No.
There's that choice to you have to either save Marcus's son. What's his name again? I'm blanking on his name.
Marcus Jr.
Yeah, Junior.
Yeah, I forget. You either save that or the teammate.
Isn't her name like Kate or something like that?
Yeah, Kate's the one that because she's like the main character of the next handful. And people were a bit split.
Gears woke.
Yeah. But and you know what? If that game had come out like now, they would have said that 100%.
Oh, 100%. When the next one comes out, that's going to be a talking point.
Yeah.
When Perfect Dark finally comes out.
Yeah, he made Perfect Dark woke. There's a girl. Yeah. There's a girl playing it. I was like, wait a second.
Yeah.
But you split and pick between one of those, and like, I don't know. I think there's more of a ramification. Each have their own like kind of weight to it, which is interesting. But I don't know. The conversation ran to like, bro, you can't just keep hindering Marcus, right? Like he can't just keep getting like way down. And I'm like, nah, man, make that guy hurt and just get that guy becoming like the Doom guy at the end. He's like, fuck everything. Let's just fucking go.
Make him numb.
Yeah, because I feel like the series needs a sacrifice, right? I don't know. It's like at some point the hero's been lasting a bit too long, and it's not like a super soldier like Halo, right? It's just some dude. Speaking of, anyone see the Deadpool? You don't, David, do you care about Deadpool?
Yeah.
Did you see the Deadpool Wolverine trailer, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it like 20
so
times.
Good.
Oh man.
Even just the song, dude. That Madonna song just fucking slaps. That's like such good Deadpool moments.
Yeah, dude. I'm scared to watch it again, but also I appreciate Marvel trailers because they subvert expectations so well. Like I can rewatch trailer 45 times and I know they're lying to me or trying to misdirect me, so I'm like, whatever.
Or digitally altering the shit.
Like at the end, right? There's a Doctor Strange. There's this thing. the
Sling ring.
yeah, sling ring thing, whatever you want to call it. And it's all white, and you're like, they're jumping in like the MCU or something.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
changed something. They're like, you can, I 100% guarantee, like you can see something on the other side.
100%.
You know what makes me butthurt about it though?
What?
Okay, so the movie comes out the week after Evo. That would
Yeah.
be so cool to go see in Vegas, like with a bunch of fucking nerds just taking over.
Did
so cool.
when I was at Evo once, it was the weekend of Ant-Man coming out, I think.
Oh yeah.
And my buddy wore a shirt that said Marvel can suck my cock. And he just walked around the strip with that shirt, and there was so many Marvel people like just in cosplay for that weekend, and some guy just walked up to him and goes, "Hey, that's a funny shirt. What's wrong with Marvel though?" It's just that it was the funniest interaction.
Just deadpan, like,
it was, yeah.
Cool shirt, but like, really,
funny shirt, but really, what's wrong with Marvel? Damn, that would have been fun. That would have been good to watch. Maybe. Well, no. What's coming out that weekend though? These things get planned pretty well. There's no way. Maybe there's an early release somehow. I don't know.
Hey, fingers crossed.
Yeah. What do you guys think is at the other end of that sling ring?
I think they're gonna hop into Endgame.
Yeah, that's what some people are predicting. That they're gonna hop in one of the portals from Endgame. It's so fucking funny.
It'd be really funny if like it was like he fucked up and put a portal like to Timbuktu or someplace and like just hop out. Like, hey, what the fuck's that?
You know what I could see it doing is, especially with Deadpool, they love doing the let's like grind a joke down to the ground until we've run out of ideas with it.
And then push the extra mile to make it funnier again.
I could see them going ahead and redoing the Deadpool kills all the shitty Deadpools, where he now pulls Wolverine along to also kill all the shitty Wolverines.
I could see that.
I feel like that's just like going to be a big part of the movie in general. Like, because we see Dogpool, we know there's Deadpool, and there's a few different things that we see in it. So I feel like we're gonna get variants, but if they kill each other, that'd be really cool. Though. I'd love to see that.
I think Endgame is the best choice though, because you can literally just like slap them in there. They're gonna be fighting the exact same aliens, right? But have them just like Wolverine will be fine, but have Deadpool just fuck up and like see if you can have him kill like Howard the Duck or something on accident, right? Because you see them show up there for a second and they just fuck something up. Yeah.
That'd be so good. I'm imagining, okay, so they walk out, it's when Cap gets the hammer, and then they pop out of the ring or something, and Deadpool like, hey, fuck face! And then we get a language.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know. I think that'd be really cool to see Cap interact with Wolverine. Also would be really cool too, because they're both vets. I mean,
and technically, they, at least, comics, they served together for a while.
Right, exactly.
See, that's the tough part about having to get rid of Iron Man and Cap so much, is that we miss like all these potential interactions that would have been so stellar. But I don't know. I could. What was it?
Reboot, baby.
Well, here's the thing. I can promise you, they've already signed on at least Robert Downey Jr. Because remember, after he was done with Marvel, he was like, I moved on. That's the past part of my life. It's a good chapter, but time to go move on to other things. They asked him like 2 or 3 weeks ago, hey, would you go back? Yeah, man, that's part of my DNA. Of course I'd go back. Like that'd be a good time. It's like,
Look,
you're not just changing your mind on that unless you've already signed up.
Yeah, and I think I was hearing word that a couple years ago they were like pitching Chris Evans a hefty amount to come back, like to the tune of over 200 million to just like please come back for stuff. I go ahead.
One of the things also I was gonna say about the trailer that kind of got me hype is it looks like we're getting more comic accurate Logan stuff in it.
Yeah,
because we see like the dead Ant-Man. That's a big thing in Logan. It's called Pym Falls. It's Hank Pym, but he's Giant Man and he dies, and he's pretty much like a gigantic carcass, and like thousands of people like use his body, live there, take meat off him and eat him and shit like that.
So it's kind of like it's gonna happen with the Eternal thing where they just carve it out and make it Avengers headquarters.
Right. It's a kind of like nowhere. So yeah, it's a good take on that too. And was it? Oh yeah, it's because Logan was like a buddy cop thing with Hawkeye and Logan. So instead of that,
Yeah, well, buddy cop in a grim dark apocalypse.
right,
but...
right. Hey, you're the only other guy here, so we have to fucking do this.
Yeah.
Let's travel across the U.S.
Fucking Hulk with She-Hulk incest babies.
Bro, what a year.
Non-consensual.
2024.
Logan?
Who would have known, like,
No, you're good.
5 years ago? We would have had two buddy cops, Kong and Godzilla and Deadpool and Wolverine.
Right.
Two buddy cops so far, killer.
Hugh also said one of the big things he wanted to do if he came back was he wanted to fight Hulk. So, I mean, are we gonna get Eric Bana Hulk to fight Wolverine? That'd be.
I mean, let's. Oh man, let's face it. There's two things that I feel like we've been wanting in a live action for a long time, and that's one. I feel like a lot of people, like you were saying, give us the proper Wolverine introduction of Hulk versus Wolverine. Mm-hmm. But two, the fastball special.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Do you think we keep Hugh in for a little while, or you think he's done after this? I think they I'm pretty sure I heard they signed him for 2. They're gonna get him in Secret Wars. You can't just get him for this and do that. So like, I say thing, and I think it's good, but it also kind of it takes a little bit of that wind out of a No Way Home, because you know they're gonna get the Spider-Man back, right? I just hope that they leave him off in a good spot, because I think like No Way Home did. I don't want Secret Wars to be so bombastic that it's like, all right, well, that was we had a better ending last time. They talked, they are recasting Kang, obviously, and or what something with it, but Kang Dynasty is no longer happening.
I thought they were completely scrapping
Kang Dynasty is no longer happening. It's Avengers 5. They're titling it too. So I wonder where they're gonna go with that. If it's truly like a Secret Wars, because Kang Dynasty was supposed to be Secret Wars kind of precursor. But I wonder if this is really like this is a Secret Wars precursor, because biggest issue with MCU right now is there's still like there's no tie with anything. Like usually, like I get the whole like everything needs the tie, and I get kind of bugged when people are like, hey, everything must have something connection, but we don't have anything right now. Right now, it's everywhere. No one really has a big.
No, we're effectively in the middle of a soft reboot, but we soft rebooted into having to write around a lot of shit because the whole situation with Kang's actor happened. Blade was such a fucked production that they're only now realizing we are gonna just bring it back to basics. Blade just goes around and kills vampires. Yes, that's all Blade needs to be. Congratulations. You have unlocked the mystery of what makes a good Blade adaptation.
Yeah, it's like the whole thing with like Punisher. Forever they couldn't do Punisher. It's like, just have him kill people. And then they finally put him in Daredevil, and guess what? He killed people, and it was awesome.
Yeah, Punisher is not that complex a character.
No.
Take a man, he's broody, he's angry, lost his family, and has a crippling level of like commitment to his ethics. To the point where in the original Civil War, when that's all going on, Cap's like, bro, I brought in like Venom and Green Goblin to help us out. He's like, no, I'm gonna fucking kill him. And Cap has to put fucking Punisher down. It's like, well, that's a problem.
Cap and Punisher is like one of my favorite like combos in comics. It's so cool, just because they're like polar opposites, but Punisher loves Cap.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so good.
Go ahead. No, go for it.
I was gonna say, talking about like Secret Wars and stuff, it kind of leads me to like you were saying, we are headed towards that soft reboot, but I feel like there's a reason why Deadpool's the only movie that we're getting this year, because I feel like this is kind of like not quite wiping the slate clean, but setting the slate right, I guess.
I think they kind of
they're laying the ball up,
because
for whoever to slam it in Avengers.
It's been a long time since I've seen people excited over a Marvel trailer, right? Like everyone's like, I don't want to see Echo. Oh, I don't want to see this. Even though Echo I heard turned out all right.
It's fine. It
like,
wasn't. It's your typical Disney Plus.
It's,
I don't want to say slop because it's not slop, but it's average.
It's been
not bad.
Last time I saw people were excited for Black Panther because the trailer was amazing.
Dude, the trailer made me cry. I was like ugly crying by the end of it.
I went back and watched that a couple days ago. And it's such, dude, going from
it's a rough bit.
Going from everything's gonna be all right to all right. Yeah. It's the sickest transition I ever heard. I'm like, you guys need to release that remix. That's crazy.
Yeah, I seen an interview with the guy that cut that trailer and like did the music for it and everything, and it's one of those things like, God damn, they're not paying this guy enough.
No, and everyone's in there like,
He
please,
deserves
we
way
get
more.
that guy an Oscar for just this trailer. But yeah, so I do agree with that. I think Deadpool Wolverine's kind of clean his slate because you got two characters people love. They haven't been tarnished yet, right? Like they both left at their peaks.
1 and 2 were both like almost billion-dollar movies.
Right.
So.
Like Logan, everyone still loves Hugh Jackman. No one hates that man. Everyone loved Deadpool too. So you got two characters that are going together, finally happening, going into and I think it's gonna be time for them to. Deadpool's the funny like mulligan, right? Where it's like you can go in now and fucking laugh at everything, kind of what Endgame did, right? Where it's like, all right, they fixed Dark World, right? Like they kind of went in like and made people appreciate that movie a little bit. So it's like you can go in and like and laugh at the dumb moments and get away with it, and everyone's like, oh yeah, that was pretty stupid, but ha ha ha, right? And start clean. So I mean, I wonder how much Ryan Reynolds got for this because this really is the cleanest slate. Like this is the only one out. Everyone else is getting reevaluated. Please help us, Ryan Reynolds.
The only movie out, and it's R-rated.
Yeah.
There
was a lot of F-bombs. I was expecting some F-bombs. I didn't expect that many in that
Just
trailer.
in the trailer, yeah, there's a ton.
And it's kind of one of those things that you also have to kind of wonder, like, how many more Deadpools we're even going to get.
Yeah.
Because, Ryan Reynolds is also, getting on up in there in years.
I did see that Sean Levy said that he does not consider this Deadpool 3.
Yeah, that's what he said.
So,
my hope,
Deadpool 3's out there, who knows? But
my hope is when it does come time for the final Deadpool movie, because I strongly don't think this will be the final one. I think we're at least going to get one more, maybe two. But I truly hope that when the day comes and we get that final Ryan Reynolds Deadpool, I really fucking want it to be Deadpool kills the MCU.
I don't think that you'll never get that.
I think if they do, it's going to be a cartoon.
It could be a what if.
Yeah, I think we'll get like a what if or like a Disney Presents or whatever the Werewolf at Night was.
You know what? I can see Deadpool replacing the Iron Man of the MCU and being Deadpool just pops up places.
Be the Stan Lee.
Right, like
he's just in the back vacuuming or something.
Because I mean he loves that. Shout out to Ryan Reynolds. The thing I appreciate about Ryan Reynolds, we talked about this kind of once, where everyone always has to have their helmet off now.
Yeah.
But Ryan Reynolds has been like one like, no, fuck that. Deadpool looks cool. Like let's rock it with that on, which is dope. I appreciate that. We need to see.
I mean, that's what happens when you have a comic fan actually in the role.
Knows that, but he knows like his voice is iconic enough that it holds. Everyone knows it's Ryan Reynolds, right? Like it's cool.
I was just telling my wife about that too because I made her watch the trailer, and like the whole time she's like, all I can see is Ryan's face. I was like, me too.
Yeah.
Just his voice. It's like you see his face.
But you can do the same thing with like Robert Downey Jr. and even Tom Holland. You can hear them, right? But it's like they just need to see their face because actors. But anyway, that trailer is gonna be it's dope. I think it's gonna come out well. I think it's gonna hold up well. I think I'm hoping it's gonna reset some things and it should help that momentum into it. But
I think Deadpool 1 and 2 both hold up pretty well. I just was not recently, like maybe a month or two ago, I rewatched them just for like the anticipation of 3, and I plan to rewatch them again. And I feel like they still hold up fairly well because I mean they're not part of the MCU, so you're not really depending on any continuity or anything. It's more like if you're a fan of like X-Men and stuff, you're going to get something good out of it. It's kind of like how I kind of see it.
It was handled with care, as much as it was trying to be like, we're going to be the standout one. We're going to buck the current trends. We're going to go back to that edgy style. It wasn't done for just the sake of being the edgy comedic kind of one. It was like, clearly the people behind this like really give a shit and have a love for the source material.
Yeah, and you can kind of see that too with like the writing, because Deadpool is one of those characters that's really easy to just fall into like stupid, like edgy humor. Whenever I feel like there's a whole lot more that you can do with Deadpool, especially like you see it at points in that trailer. Like there's moments where Deadpool can be dead serious. He can say like what needs to be said, and there's moments where like he can be the butt of his own joke too.
He walks the line.
Exactly.
He walks the line like any one or two people that don't belong on that writers team could lean it one way too much of the other. But they do balance that. That's the one thing I was worried about though, was because this is one of the movies that got hit by that writer's strike pretty well, and they continued production. Which
they improv some fucking lines and broke some rules.
Yeah, because that's all improv. So I'm like,
way Ryan Reynolds isn't.
Right. You would have came out though, right? Like someone would have said something. So it's like they either have to have it could have been one of those things like the writers are so just in love with Deadpool and knowing they have to get out. They're like, do your thing. Like we don't want this to hinder, right? Because it would suck to also lose out on a Deadpool movie because of that and like feel guilty for that. But I don't know. It could be a lot of things. I'm just hoping it's good. How was everyone's week? What'd you guys do? Tell us what you do.
Yeah, so my week was really great. I'm still recovering from Saturday. Went to a sweet show. That's going to kind of lead into what I got this week. So that was a whole lot of fun.
Hell yeah. David?
Good shit.
Yeah.
So to tie in a little bit of last week and this week together. So last week I finished 7 Rebirth. And I am now also extra concerned because a lot of people that have been finishing up the new Like a Dragon game have actually been saying they run into the same issues with that game, where there's so much bloat to it that it actually is a slog towards the end. But I finished Rebirth, and I'm not going to go into any spoilers. I'm going to avoid as much as I can.
Are we talking about pretty much what you played for this part then?
Yeah, because I'm just gonna go into just a quick high level impressions on it. Gameplay wise, I wish they made one thing very clear, and it's not really a spoiler, but the last chapter of the game is basically 2 hours of cutscenes with 2 boss fights that have basically a constant cycling of your entire party. And I didn't notice it while going through this, but if during the cutscenes, there is a button to change your party loadout before going into each segment of the boss fight, because the second boss fight has 12 parts to it.
Okay.
So make sure when you are on chapter 14, you set at least 3 hours aside, because it's just pure cutscene and 2 boss fight, one of which has legitimately 12 segments to it.
So it feels like, from what you're saying, it's almost like Sephiroth fight at the end of remake, but ramped up to.
Ramped up.
Yeah. Okay.
Ramped way the fuck up.
Yeah, because I kind of had that same feeling with the Sephiroth fight, because it was it was a longer cutscene, so you're sitting there watching it, then all of a sudden it did the same thing. The whole party, organize your party now, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Because it just drops you right into it, and it's section after section after section. You're like, what the fuck is happening? Where's the end of
Yeah, no, it's worse than that, because you'll go into it with a randomized party to start, which that already set me on the fucking back foot. But then after that, I didn't realize that you had the option to hold square during the cutscenes to change your party, because after the first part of the second boss fight, it's just a conga line of all your party members hopping around and teaming up in different groups. And it led to the final part of the boss fight that legitimately took me a good 25 minutes, because it involved 2 characters that I didn't have kitted out for. One of the characters just wasn't kitted out at all, because I barely used that character. So they basically were like, I'm just going to shove all the material I want to level up on you. So they had fucking nothing on them that was useful for the fight. And the other character in the last section of the final fight had a decent loadout, but man, I was missing having enemy skill, because Yuffie is my enemy skill holder. But it was one of those things that section took me so long, because they have the audacity to throw in, as you go through that last section of the boss fight, tons of Advent Children references was fucking amazing. Okay. And really has me curious to see what's going to happen in the final part even more. But it's very clear that if you haven't watched Advent Children yet, or it's been a while, fucking rewatch it because it's
So
gonna be relevant.
So there's a reason why they did the theatrical release.
Yes.
Okay.
Very much. Everything keeps building up to. I honestly would not be surprised if we didn't have a playable segment of Advent Children in the final part. Like, it's that level of we keep referencing Advent Children.
That would be sick. If they do that, I want it to be like a playable part, kind of like how Rebirth starts off with a playable part that you have no clue about going into. That would be cool.
No, you know what'd be cool?
Or honestly, that Bahamut Sin fight.
Yeah, I was gonna say, where they just start with that off rip, dude. That'd be nuts.
But yeah, so that took me a while, but they have the audacity when you get the final boss in the final segment of the final boss fight to their last 10% of health, it hard stops the fight, and then it's a DPS check. And if you can't beat the DPS check, it auto wipes and it restarts.
Oh no!
And you have to go back to the beginning. Thankfully, not of the whole thing, but to that section of the boss fight. And because in my brain, I'm like, if I stop and go back and change my loadout, I spent an hour and a half getting here.
Yep.
I ain't fucking going back. So it took me a long time to go ahead and figure out how to make that party work with that DPS check, but I made it work. Alexander is an underappreciated summon in this game, is all I'm saying.
Oh, fuck, I forgot all about him. Okay. Yeah, I can't wait. I haven't gotten him yet.
He's so fun. The main reason I love him is he's so massive that he makes some fights stupid because he can cause the enemies to get stuck. So that's actually one of the ways that I was finally able to get to beat Odin. Was I literally trapped him in a corner with Alexander and just wailed on him.
Odin is a motherfucker. Yeah.
Yeah. Zenitsuken is a bitch because it's not proper insta-kill. It's just insane damage. But all in all, I have mixed feelings on how it ended. I think that I am very interested to see where it's going to finish. This Rebirth very much has that feeling of middle child syndrome, where unfortunately it doesn't have enough to conclude its own story. Like when you get to the end of Remake, it's like, okay, I feel like I've had a satisfying kind of, if you ended the story here, I can kind of envision what happens next. This game is predicated on having all of Remake, all of Original 7, and Advent Children in your brain. This game needs you to have all that to fully understand all the context of what's happened here, as well as bits of Ever Crisis.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, it puts in so much during the last half of the game that is just pure build up for this last remake, that there's nothing about this game for the fucking 106 hours I put into it that makes it feel like its own standalone experience. And it's really awkward because of that.
Which is crazy to think about considering it's a 100+ hour game.
Even funnier is the Ultimania book has come out for this game. Originally, when they still weren't sure how many parts they wanted this game to be,
it's gonna be more.
They were going to end it at Gunganga. I'm not spoiling anything. All I'm going to say is they were originally thinking of just having it end at Gunganga. So just think of your own current knowledge of Original 7 and be like, okay, first remake is just Midgar. Now we just go to Gunganga.
So, and yeah, my knowledge is still like not enough to reference back with that crazy. How much parts would that have been then?
It probably would have been at that level of it. Probably would have been like 7 parts.
Yeah.
Because Gunganga is basically another only like 5-6 hours after you leave Midgar.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Which is crazy also considering just how far like that's stretched out as it is now in Rebirth. Like how many hours?
Yeah.
Yeah, the sales have not been looking too out though, so maybe good thing they're not going to seven
I mean,
parts.
This is also Square Enix we're talking about, who, when fucking Tomb Raider was selling like 3 million copies, like, it underperforms.
I agree with that, but they did advertise for like 15 and 16 did really well. They were really happy with those.
Yeah, but you're also talking about the second part of a story. It's always going to keep going down more and more.
I mean, technically, no, because like technically, like, Halos will sell more. Halo 2 sold more than 1, 3 sold more than 2.
I would argue that is less common. If you were to statistically look at all game sequels, and I'm not talking about like traditional 7 or traditional Final Fantasy, where it's like, oh yes, this is 7. It's like, well, it's not a direct sequel to 6. If you look at it more of like consistently, an actual through line story of like, this is game 1, game 2, game 3. Unless one game, like in the case of like The Witcher, where one game or
are we counting
Grand Theft Auto,
are we counting Like a Dragon?
It's technically a reboot. It's like a. They're not sequels, though.
I know, but like numbered enough.
No, because that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm putting that definition of like actual direct sequels.
I agree with you to a point, because I know why you're saying this, because like your history with JRPGs on the PlayStation, right? You're talking like Xenosaga, right? 3 sold like shit. I get that. I think the landscape for that definition changes when it's a big mainstream game, though. I think mainstream games and big names like that will. I do think, however, I will go back and retract this, and I'll take the L on it, because I did think about it a little more. I did think the naming convention did fuck it over a bit. I think you mentioned that last time. I do think that might have definitely had a hindrance on it. I don't know what else. Like I don't know. See, part of it, dude. I think like on the surface, I think the name hindered it. I don't think to that extreme to have affected sales. I wonder, because I don't think it's like one thing hindering the sales. It has to be multiple things doing that.
I agreed.
And I wonder, is it like how big it is? The fact that there are so many JRPGs, PS5 being less than PS4, but there's still a lot of people buying games on there. Also, with the $10 more, right? It should like that should be accounted for in there. But then also being the continuation, maybe the quality of it being that I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of different little factors that could have contributed to it. I wonder though. I'm genuinely curious as to which one's the most dominant factor of it, though.
Do we know?
I would also
no.
All
we know is that they talk about numbers. Every company that talks about like first week numbers, you know they did good. Whenever they don't, you know it did bad.
Well, the reason why I ask is I feel like how much of this is Final Fantasy VII actually doing bad, and Final Fantasy VII just under exceeding like high expectations.
See, so that's what we're saying.
That's why I made the comment about the Tomb Raider thing earlier, because Square has weird perceptions of what.
And I feel like right now it could be amplified because they did lose their ass on like crypto and NFTs. So I wonder like how much of they should 100%. So I wonder how much of it is like pressure on them to be like, hey, this didn't sell.
I get that, but I don't know. Am I insane? Cause I swear I talked about this. I think it was with you and Gore, David, but it might have been just you. I forget what the time frame was. It was during a Game Awards, so it might have been with Gore because that's when we really talked about it. No, it might have been you. I forget what. I made the prediction that FF16 or FF7 remake or rebirth or whatever it was getting more anticipated than FF16.
Yes,
but I see in my head from the outside bubble, I know FF7 has a prestige to it, so everyone looks at that. But then I guess because I know, but then 15 did really well. I get, even though it was not really looked at as fondly, it did really well. It did really well.
It did fine. The problem is that 15 really marked where Square was losing the core base because they never finished 15. 15 was meant to be finished with the DLCs, and they pulled a Half-Life 3, and they never finished any of the DLCs for the game. And then on top of that, we had 7 Remake. And again, I feel like this is where they kind of lost, again, the core audience that would be going ahead and going back to it. Is Remake shouldn't have been called Remake, and it shouldn't have been presented as Remake.
It's a cool name, David. I know. I get it. I understand.
A cool name.
I understand. You know what? I can already see inside the offices. They're like, we get it. It's cool. It sounds good. We can't do that. No one's like, we're gonna do it. Like, fuck. All right. Let's just see. Because the revelation of it, when the name dawns on you, you're like, that's actually really fucking cool. But I understand why that kind of shoots them in the foot. Plus, I guess you know what? You also have you have a lot of FF7s. It's almost a little franchise now, right? Like you got like
Well,
you got
back in
remake,
the early 2000s,
Rebirth,
it was its
you
own
got Crisis
franchise.
Core, FF7, like they say that on there.
Well, because you figure going back to the early 2000s, it was its own franchise because they had what was called the Compendium of Seven, which is where the letter C naming came from. Advent Children, Before Crisis, Crisis Core, Dirge of Cerberus, and then now in modern era, Ever Crisis, rounding that out. Which is why it's interesting that the new distinction is RE, because we have Crisis Core, Reunion, Remake, Rebirth, and then whatever the last Re is going to be.
Ours.
What do you think that'll be, the last RE?
Revengeance. Always make that joke, and always, I love it.
Right.
Unironically, I could see it probably being something like either
redone.
No, something like Renewal or something like I was talking to a buddy of mine at work about this.
Didn't we say Revive or something like that?
Replace.
Retirement.
Yes, I mean unironically because actually Kitase said that he's like, this is the last thing I'm fucking touching because I'm too fucking old now. Because when you think about it, this game was announced like 13 years ago.
Yeah.
This has been in development for over 13 years, and we still have another potentially 3 to 4 until the last part comes out.
I don't think it should be that long. They're fucking themselves over by doing it that long. You gotta get it out.
Well, it's at least gonna be 3 years, and the only reason why I say that is because that lines up with the 30th anniversary of 7.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the only reason why I think that even if they finished it early, it would come out then, just because it hits that sweet spot of being a huge milestone event.
Nice. I could see that. Do they put a lot of importance on the anniversary dates? Not like Atlas doesn't. They say like Persona's
kind of
Persona's anniversary, and they just announce like nothing.
They kind of do. So like World of Final Fantasy, when that came out, that was to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the series.
I think like
and they'll do like
gotten theirs too.
Yeah. So they do some things like that for Final Fantasy, and
I think it's like the tentpole stuff.
Yeah.
Well, overall though, David, you enjoyed your time enough, but like they could have definitely.
Yeah, because I honestly contemplated even going back and doing some trophy cleanup. But honestly, to max out all of the like crafting gear, it relies on completing like hard mode of the mini games, and I'm like, fuck that. Completing the last side quest that I need to do requires completing the hard mode of the mini games, and I'm like, fuck that. Like everything that made me not want to continue touching the game is because they force you back in to the like 70 fucking mini games they have.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Like if it was actually just like, here's cool combat challenges, or here's just go on this interesting little story beat. Fine. If it was all just that, I would have done it all. I would have been happy to go back and clean things up. Like honestly, even the combat trials, I was kind of curious about going back and doing. Even for hard mode, just because I feel like they've refined the combat enough to where I was actually really enjoying it towards the end. But it's one of those things that because if you even want to do the hard mode trials, you still need to go ahead and make sure you max out certain gear that you can only do from the fucking mini games. I'm not doing it. Fuck it. I got other shit to play. Speaking of other shit I got to play.
Balatro.
No. There's 2 other things that has gone on in this household. One, I have started my playthrough of Dyukisei Bang in the Summer. So it is a remaster of a eroge visual novel from the 90s. Back on the PC.
You are literally the only person on the planet playing that now. That's wild.
It is a game that actually comes with a legacy behind it. The whole point of Dyukisei is, keeping in mind, is originally released in '92, so it's actually a little forward-thinking for the time. It was meant to be a dissection and a commentary of dating simulators at the time.
Interesting.
Okay.
So again, 92 is when this came out, and already they felt the need to criticize their genre. And I can see why. I actually got to a point when I was playing this weekend that I needed to like fucking not and just walk away from my computer playing it.
Steam Deck Balatro. Steam Deck
No.
Balatro, please. I'm telling you. I will...
No, it's not gonna happen.
Why?
The more you want me to play it, the less I have an interest now.
You're crazy. Like, it's something you would love.
I don't like roguelike elements in games.
You like card games. You like gambling.
That's true, but anytime someone uses roguelike, I get disinterested.
It's just like you lose the game. Don't think of it as a roguelike. Just think of it as you lose the game. It's like solitaire.
Yeah.
You lose, all right. You lose. Is solitaire a roguelike?
Suppose.
No.
I don't play solitaire.
You lose the game.
But anyways, so the whole premise of Dyukase, from a storyline perspective, is you're playing this horny college kid, and your whole goal is to fuck as much as you can. And there's like 3 different tiers of women you're chasing after. There is the more mature, like 30 to 40-year-olds, that they're like, oh, you're a cute kid, you're cute. They see what you're doing, and the entire time they just chastise and like rub your face into what a fucking child you still are. There's the slightly older girls that have moved on enough in life to be settled and figuring out what it is to be an adult themselves, that are still a little bit naive, but have enough self-respect to like not want to entirely deal with your bullshit. And then there are the other girls in college with you. And it does something interesting where in order to progress the romance with certain characters, you actually have to romance other characters along the way. So it's literally the Spice Girls lyric of, if you want to get with me, you have to get with my friends. So you go around romancing and trying to woo like 12 different women. And it's intended for you to basically do that. And it's because it's all building onto a narrative of what an emotional and garbage human fucking being your character is. As the moment that made me just have to fucking walk away from the game is I've gone on like 3 dates in game currently. And with the last date that I just did, it was with this very naive, very inexperienced girl who struggled to even admit that she kind of had feelings for you. And you take her on a movie theater date. And you basically molest her. Like, she straight up is like, hey, I'm not comfortable. And you just keep fucking groping her all over. And the game doesn't let you, like, continue on from the scene until you have groped and molested every fucking part of her. And then she runs away fucking crying and screaming. And all of your mutuals, because again, the game is predicated on, in order to get with certain characters, you have to build up relationships with others. All of those people coming out and calling you a disgusting, garbage fucking human being. And it's just such a very real, but very uncomfortable fucking sequence of events. And it just kind of leaves you of like that, okay, you're holding up that like wish fulfillment mirror, being like, this is what it's really like when you fucking act like that. And fucking kudos, well played, but a little too well played. Had to walk away from it after that. Eventually do want to go back and play more of it, but it is rough at points. And then other times it's just like titty game. But aside from that, the last thing that's been going on in this house, my partner has finally sat down and started Yakuza 0. She is about an hour into it. She has currently very much enjoyed the fact that she can just mow down civilians. And so she spent like a good 10 minutes just picking up speed and seeing how many people she can knock down to the ground. And it's been hilarious watching her play it. Nice. But so far she's not the biggest fan of Kiryu, which I get it. Kiryu in the beginning of 0, he has that like dumb kid vibe. But I just tell her, just wait till you get to Majima's introduction. Once you get to Majima's introduction, everything changes. But yeah, so that's what's been going on here. Aside from that, Started the Fallout series. As I think we actually talked a little about that last week.
Yeah.
Further into that, still enjoying it quite a bit. And yeah, Adrian,
well, I was just saying like more like what'd you guys do this week, but since we're doing it, we just jumped into what we do and what we play. Kels, I don't want to go back. Go ahead and go back. What would you play this week?
Sorry.
Yeah, so mine's relatively simple. Been kind of busy. Played a little bit more Final Fantasy. Got a few more chapters done. I'm trying to.
What chapter are you at?
I think I'm 8 or 9.
Oh, so you got okay. So you're now where it starts to really slog. Okay.
Right, yeah.
Oh.
And on top of that, like it's naturally like I feel like it's getting to the point like anyone playing it regularly would fill the slog. But I've also been doing like everything on the map. So I've been doing like all the Chadley stuff, all the towers, everything possible. And so it's really setting in. I'm like, oh my fucking god, this it's starting to hit. But so I'm getting to the point where I'm like, all right, fuck all that. I'm just gonna do like main stuff and like maybe a few side things, Queen's Blood, whatever. And then
the Queen's Blood story does have a fantastic payoff. Yeah, that's all I'll say. It has a fantastic payoff.
That and it's just genuinely fun. I just love the mechanics, card game. I just have fun with it.
I didn't like it much, mostly because I think by like chapter 4 or 5, I had my deck pretty much done, and aside from like 1 or 2 changes to it, I never changed it.
Yeah.
Because I realized very early on, it doesn't matter how good your deck is. All that matters is board control.
Yeah.
Just fucking sprawl out across the board. And so that's what I did. I made a deck that I'm like, I just need to fill the board so my opponent can't play anything. And then aside from like the last few challenges at Gold Saucer, I never lost or worried about anything.
Yeah, it's like any other TCG pretty much that, but control does feel super impressive. But yeah, control the board's kind of what I'm doing too. But like you said, stories there, parts, it's fun mechanic. It's not like Fort Condor. Fort Condor, fucking story wasn't hitting, fucking annoying. It felt RNG at points.
Yes.
So stupid.
I don't care what anyone says. That game is fucking RNG.
Yeah.
I've tried creating strategies and running the same strategy literally with the same exact timing. Yeah. And it just seemed to always play out just differently every time.
Yep.
Didn't fucking matter. It's pure fucking random. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah, no, I had the same exact experience. But other than that, I played a little bit more Tekken. I still need to buy Eddie. I keep forgetting about that every time I play. So I need to get him and cop him. But also, it's kind of one of those things like, I feel like if I get him, I'm going to want to play him more. And then it's just going to be like me, like pulling me away from where I should be practicing at or where I should be playing at.
Sure.
Because it's going to be like the new shiny toy to play with.
Well, when's Evo thing end again?
May 31st, I believe, is when the sign-up's in. Yeah.
I need people to yell at me when that happens.
For sure.
Nice. Yeah, I haven't been playing much. The Steam Deck version of it slowed down for some reason. I'm hearing that maybe it's because I'm not on the beta version, which sucks because I had to stop the lunch battles for that. But yeah, I'm trying to fix that and at this point, when I talk about something in a second, I'll mention. But yeah, at this point, I'm just gonna wait till summer to grind and Tekken probably at this point. I'm hoping to play more though. Any other games? So
that's it for me.
Let me go through my saga of how the playoffs went. Last week, I was struggling to figure out what the fuck's happening. Right? Okay. I spent the first 3 hours of my trip just back and forth calling with people trying to figure out something. And luckily it turned out Pepperoni Chat says, hello boys, stopping by for a bit. What's up, Pepperoni?
Hell yeah.
They because he became eligible, the playoff standings stood. Our regular season record took a hit. But we're still in playoffs and they kept us exactly where we're at. We're like, all right, you get a warning. Also, that player can't play in finals. I was like, oh, fuck. All right, well. And so I had to give them some calls. And I was like, all right, I had to call one of my backup bench players. I'm like, hey, I need you on Saturday. I need you to call into work. I'll do whatever I can on my end to just plead your case. But I need you to call on Saturday. I need you out there bright and early. He's like, all right. And the other player let him know, and he was upset, obviously disappointed, right? Because he's a senior. It could have been his last performance, and it would have been. But like, I understand, sucks, but we'll make do, and I'll be there for sure. I'm like, cool. So we make it to the as I'm driving, like 2 hours later, I get a message from one of my players saying, breaking news: the team that we were supposed to play was also ineligible, but like fully, and they got kicked out the playoffs completely.
Oh shit!
Yeah, they were 11-0 that season, and they got yeeted, which means someone on their team was not eligible the entire season. So that sucks. And then so we had to like shift because we're like, fuck, we were studying VODs on that team. Now we got to play a team that we played earlier in the season, so it threw us off for a loop. And we're like, all right, whatever, let's recalibrate, let's do this. And so Splatoon happened on Friday. The boys pulled through game 1, game 5 banger, and then we're like, all right, back on stage, grand final stage like last year for finals for Splatoon. And that's not my game to coach, so I try to take a step back, not step on the feet of the coach that runs that. But and I don't know much about Splatoon. Just I know like when like I know like map placement for shooter games, right? Like I know the tempo of things. I can talk about that from a shooter, which the coach out there can also do that. That's what mostly does. He knows Splatoon, but also he talks more just like on a shooter basis. That's how he coaches, which it works. And we're playing against this one school here. And they had a quick 2-0 up us, all right? And they had one more game to win. And our boys fought through, and they had that game 3. They just fought back and shut them down. All right, game 4, they had a heavy lead at the beginning, and then their team brought it to overtime and almost beat us, but we still held back. All right, cool. Game 5 out the gate, take the lead. And I just think that the boys kind of got a little nervous, scared, and they stopped pushing up. They just like stood there and they were like playing just defense the entire time. In my head, I'm like, and you can't do mid-set coaching, but in my head, I'm like, you guys got to push up. You guys got to get aggressive. Like, you can't just let go. They're scared right now. They're nervous, but you guys let go. Like, you guys like let them feel safe again. And sure enough, they came back and won it. And I'm like, but they were okay with it. They're like, you know what? That was a good game. We're proud of that. We brought that last game, and even the parents were like shaking because their school is a pretty popular school, and they had a bunch of people in the crowd compared to ours. But even their parents were like, you guys are really good. You guys made us sweat. So the crew was good about that. And then
it's so funny, parents just really getting into Splatoon.
Yeah, they don't know what's going on, but it's cool, right? Like, it's like they don't know what's going on, but they see the score going up and they're yeah.
Especially because I feel like that would be more of like our generation as parents to be like, all right, cool, our esports children, let's go.
Oh, if my kid goes into esports, I'm whatever game he's in, I'm good. I'm like, let's do this. Let's fucking win. And so their team and that team that beat us in grand finals there, we played them first thing in the morning at Smash. And so I was like, all right, guys, you guys feel good? I agree, we did good. And then one of our players, Splatoon, is one of my really good players in Smash. I'm like, tomorrow we get revenge, right? Let's shut him out for what they did to you right now. He's like, all right. And it was cool because he's the one that, like I said, I was hyping him up. That he got eligibility his first time ever, but he was on that stage. He was shy and nervous the first like game or two. Afterwards, like, oh shit, this is kind of fun. All right, cool. And just like got used to the stage. And he was like, that was fun. I'm like, cool, let's do it again tomorrow. And I had to talk my shit, right? So they're coming out there. We said our good stuff. Like, good games. Like, you guys are really good yet. And they're walking out. I'm like, see you guys tomorrow for Smash. And I caught a small whiff of them, like kind of like nervous. And I was like, and then as like I caught that, I had that spidey sense, just being a boomer enough and knowing that, right? Being in tournament so much, I just caught it. As soon as I caught it, I was like, FYI, I don't lose at Smash. And they're like, what? I'm like, I don't lose at Smash. Like, enjoy whatever bronze if you get that tomorrow. I don't lose. And they were like, okay. And they kind of thought we were playing it, right? But I was kind of like feeding into it. I was like, I'm gonna trash talk for us. Like, let's get it. Let's get in their heads a little bit. And one of them goes, nah, I'm gonna have a gold. I'm like, the only gold you have is around your neck right now. Enjoy it. You're not winning tomorrow. And the co-coach were with me, and some of the boys were like, damn. I'm like, they're not winning tomorrow. Get in their heads right now. They're not winning. And they're like, all right, cool. I was like, let's do this. Do not make me look stupid. We're winning tomorrow. They're like, all right, let's do this. I was a little nervous, right? Because I had one player who was like kind of cold because he hadn't played in a while. He was like on our bench. I'm like, fuck it, let's just do it tomorrow. Bright and early, we're there, and the team's a fucking wild card. And it's so funny because I mentioned, I was like, I don't know how this team plays. If there's like no rhyme or reason to it, or if there's like some 900 IQ rhyme or reason to it. Turns out it's plan A because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. But like one player is really good, the other players kind of mimic that, and because the top player is just good enough, he doesn't really know coaching, right? Like I'm the one that takes it seriously. I'm a sweaty at that, but I know what I'm doing. So like he doesn't know. So game one, they send their best player out first, and we send our worst player out first. I'm not trying to say worst, but like our weakest player, and he knows he was the bench one, right?
Our least developed,
right? But like, there's a weird that, and he knows he's not as good as the other two. But like, you know, I'm not trying to say in a mean way. Still on our team, like he's still great. When the dude parries, like he plays Lucina, but there's times where he just parries everything. I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude, with the fucking reaction times. And I was like, oh, that's really good for us because we need to win 3 sets. That means our 2 best play 2 of their worst. I mean, all we gotta do is win 1 more. That's all we need. So they clean us up game 1. And they were feeling it. I'm like, all right. I was like, all right, best player, let's go, and just shut him up right away. And it's funny because he's a masher. Like, I don't think I have a GameCube controller on me. But like, whenever you get grabbed, right? If you get grabbed, you gotta mash out of it, and he mashes like you. I remember the first day I walked into esports 3 years ago. I heard it, and I was like, I know he plays. So he just mashes, and it just made everyone scared but laugh at the same time. They were fucking like cracking up, but also terrified because they're like, oh shit, he's going. And so he won quick. Game 3, some other player out there, the one that was playing Splatoon that night, he won quick. All right, game 4, they send their best player out again. I send mine again. But the matchup was a bit funky because it's DK versus Cloud, and Cloud can get kind of eaten up in that matchup if not spaced well, because DK is all about grapples and really just like comboing you. So like the Cloud, if he's missed spaces, did that. So he got swept up game 1. I'm like, oof. Game 2, my player clutched it out with a really cool with double fair from Cloud, which is wild. And game 3, it was last game, last hit, and I think my player just got a little bit too antsy for it and then died. And he's like, he lost. And I'm like, all right. But then I sent my other player. I'm like, hey, it's all on you now. If you want revenge for last night for them giving you silver, get him out of here. Let's go. Cleaned up, dude. It was sick. And he plays Sora, and you don't know much about Sora and Smash, David, but
no, not yet.
Sora and Smash is so fucking annoying because they do these things called nair loops, which mean they jump, hit. Like they lock you in a loop. Like I swear, like not kidding, it could be like 12 to 15 hits in a row. Just like true combo loops if you hit the inputs correctly. And they're not that big. Like you're talking like 2-3% each, but like it builds up. And it gets really frustrating whenever control's not given to you in the game for like 10-15 seconds, right? So he did that to him, and I was like, man, I'm great. I'm happy he's on my team, but I would hate to play him, man. Like, I'm good. I'm glad he's on my team. I would never.
The coach doesn't want to fucking play the kid.
Yeah, I coach someone that I do not want to play. That's how you know I coached him right. And so we won. I'm like, cool. GG's, we won that. We got it out of there. Side note, the other team that was researching us, they lost, so they played the team that there. So the team that researched us won, so they got 3rd place. So the team that won Splatoon went with nothing out. So I'm like, all right, you guys didn't get another medal. I'm sorry, we don't lose. It is what it is. And then we played this team at the end, right? And this is the one that I was like, I have no idea who the fuck this team plays. So when my friend came out and like, yeah, we lost that team, I'm like, all right, I need knowledge. Who did they play? How did it go? Like, well, they have a Cloud player, but he's not as good as yours. He swapped the Terry. They have a DDD player, and they have a Byleth. I'm like, all right, cool. I have no idea this is gonna be like a scary game. They're like, they're good. You guys are better though, but they're good. I'm like, all right, let's just see how it goes. Game 1, my player gets smoked. Like game 1, my player gets smoked. Like, and he's scared because he, again, 5 days ago he wasn't sure. He wasn't like, all right, whatever. Like I go team. Like hell yeah. Now he's on the big stage, so he's scared, and I get it, right? So I'm not like grinding into him like I would if it was one of my actual player, right? So I sat down. I'm not saying actual player, I'm the one that should have been there, right? I sat down with him.
One of your mains.
Yeah. So I'm like, sat down with him like, hey, dude, you're playing really scary. He's like, I know. I was like, look, I didn't bring you on stage right now to hold shield and get your ass kicked. go out swinging, dude. If you're gonna go out swinging. I want to see something. If you're gonna lose, that's okay. But like, show me some fight. Show me some fight. Let's see where you're at. He's like, all right. And he did a lot better. Like he got some really good kills in. Like he didn't get a single kill the first game. Game 2, he got at least like one good kill in, and like just kind of got cheesed the last couple times because I swear the VOD's online. He rolled behind DD and he still got him. I'm like, what the fuck? But whatever. He's like, we did a lot better. All right, we did our thing. All right, best player go. Just swept them. The Bio just didn't have a chance to fucking breathe. He just destroyed them. I'm like, cool. And it's cool because for the first time ever, our side had more fans because a whole other school like that player, our Cloud player, because he's really good friends with them. So they were cheering for us. So I was like, oh shit, this is crazy. Crowd behind him, we actually have a crowd. We're not like the fucking underdogs where everyone's like, nah, go for the other team. I'm like, oh shit. So like he was a fan favorite. So everyone's like cheering, like, we love you, marry all of us. It was so funny. Like they were going for that. And then we sent our other player in for their Cloud. It was first game, and it was around like last hit around there, and just had the sickest down smash read on him that shut that Cloud player out so much that he stopped playing Cloud for the rest of the set. He just scared him off of Cloud the entire time. And then he switched to DK after that game because he got scared and got smoked as DK. Came back in against our Cloud, and my Cloud just smoked them, so he won. It was like not like one of the last year we were freaking out. We're like, fuck yeah, we won. This time it was like all right, we won. Heck yeah, like that was great. One up footstool, which is weird. he didn't mean to. He doesn't like us telling that. He didn't mean to footstool him, but just jumped off and just happened to footstool him and kill him. And we're like, hell yeah. But it was cathartic, and we go through, and they did the thing because they didn't want to say the names wrong, so they give the coach the mic. So I got the mic to say the names of my players, gave everyone a quick introduction, and this leads into a little bit more in a second. But like, I gave a shout out to the player that passed earlier this year, right? I was like, hey, I had to get off the mic. I'm so bad at that shit, and I'll say that in a second. But I'm so bad. I'm like, all right, I gotta get off the mic. I didn't say that, but I was like, hey, I want to give a shout out. Earlier this year, we lost someone in our family. We miss you, man. This gold's for you. We miss you. And I got off. I was like, I can't do that. If I talk for 5 more seconds, it's shaky voice. I'm like, nah, I gotta go. Let's keep this. And everyone was like, yeah, we appreciate that. They didn't know I was gonna do that. I was like, we'll keep that a surprise. And they came down here, took our pictures. Hell yeah. And I saw the player, the one that couldn't play. His mom was there, and I was like, I hear that the mom was upset about that, which I get. I'm like, all right. And I tried calling her the day before. I'm like, trying to like explain that. I'm like, I fucked up. So I saw her, and she was crying. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Like, it hurts me because I want to see him play. He's a senior. I know, and it sucks. And she's like, no, it's okay. I'm like, I know. I'm sorry. It's not okay. She's like, it's okay. I'm crying because of the shout out you gave at the end because we loved him. Aww. I'm like, don't say that. Don't say that. But she also kind of cool because the guy came up to me right afterwards, the guy that runs the tournament series that we use online. He's like, hey, you guys won. Just want to let you guys know. And I forgot about it. You guys qualified for nationals. So you guys got to beat this one team. You guys beating that one team. You guys get into nationals. We got to beat the 4A winners of our state who have ranked higher than us. They're the scariest team for sure. So I've been VOD reviewing. I'm like, all right, we play them on the 2nd. We're supposed to play them tomorrow, but I'm out tomorrow for another trip. Play them on the 2nd. So I'm like, all right, cool. So we got that. My Cloud player had a line of people that wanted to play him afterwards. It was funny. We went out there. We went to Buca de Beppo, which have you guys? You know what it is, right, David?
No.
Cal, you know what Buca de Beppo is?
No,
it's like
no clue.
It's an Italian restaurant that serves only
it
like
sounds like a Italian restaurant from Family Guy.
Right, but it serves in sharing services, sharing.
Family style.
Yeah. So like
nice.
They were looking at the price, like, oh my god, my guys, it's built for you guys to share. I'm like, oh okay. And you know, I got so many gamers that are so fucking picky because we split the table. So me and some of the alumni came out and supported us, which is super cool. I love hearing from them.
That's cool.
So we had like all the adults on one table, and then the next table with us, like all the kids we joked about. But you could tell the adults, except for one actually, one of them's also just as picky as the rest of them. He moved over to that table because the adults ordered like chicken or cheese catini. I forget what the fucking name is, but it was like the stuffed pasta with cheese and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. The Gamer Boys,
they call that a ravioli.
The Gamer Boys ordered noodles with butter.
That's That's a gamer ass meal. Hell yeah.
Not even spaghetti. They just wanted noodles with butter. And that was it. They were happy. I'm like, oh my God.
It's for my diabetics out there.
Yeah, that's all they wanted.
That's for my fellow poors out there who grew up with like, what's in the cupboards? We got ramen packets and butter.
Not even the sauce. If it was like spaghetti, I was already like, whatever, get spaghetti. They're like, we want these. Can we just get noodles with butter? We're like, and even the waitress is like, excuse me? Yeah, just the noodles with butter. And she's like, all right. And they were happy with it. I was like, Jesus Christ. Went to round 1 afterwards, and I want to give a quick shout out.
Oh yeah. That
Deal or No Deal game with the Mega Wheel bonus, I hit jackpot both times. Those things, you know that Mario Party game with the shells, where it like, or like they put the item in the treasure chest and they shuffle them around. That's why I won that game twice. I won that game. I saw some of our players just won these big jackpots. They won like big stuffed animals right away. I'm like, dude, we're not losing today. There's no way we lose. I'm gonna go play Deal or No Deal right now. Sat down, jackpot, and if you hit the jackpot, if you win the 400 case, you hit the Mega Wheel. Mega Wheel has half of it is 250, so you would lose 150 if you hit the wrong part. There's like $1,500, 1,500, 2,000, 250, and 5,000. Those are the other things they hit in there. Hit 2,000, and I was like, bro, we don't lose today. And you have I have a video of us, and you hear some of my players behind us go all day as it's going the tickets. And then I'm gonna skip over one part of my week because there was one more part I want to mention, but and then I was like, yeah, let's come back and do this again sometime. Let's celebrate. And they're like, yeah, let's do that. For reasons I'm gonna mention in a second, I went back like 3 hours later. And because I really wanted this slowpoke Kigurumi that was over at the one that was in California, and I was like, all right,
yeah.
I was like, I have like 3,000 tickets. I had 500 tickets on this, so me and the girlfriend went. I was like, I'm walking out with this Kigurumi for reasons I'm gonna mention in a second. She was supportive of it. She's like, let's do it. Sat down. We're like, let's do Deal or No Deal again. I didn't do it again right afterwards the first time because like has to be kind of like rigged, right? It's not gonna let you win.
You gotta let it cool off.
You gotta let it cool off.
Yeah.
So I was like, let's sit down again. Tracked it again. Got the 400 of one. I'm like, y'all, nah. Spin the wheel, 2,000 again. I'm like, I'm built different, dude. This is crazy. I'm just built different on that. I don't know how to explain it. When I'm watching, I don't know if other people do this because you guys know the mini games I'm talking about. How do you guys track the things when you guys do that? You guys remember it all? I know how I track. When I track it, I specifically don't look at the screen. I don't know why. I let my peripheral vision track where everything's at.
That's how I usually do like anything like that. Like I try to stare like center screen, like right above it, and just try to track peripheral. That's how I usually do.
Okay, thank you. Because it sounds weird, right? Like when you explain, it's like, okay, everybody else does. Okay, cool. Also, news with butter. Yeah, that's what they wanted. It's fucking weird. I don't know why. I think it's because your eyes focus too hard on trying to trace it. Maybe you just lose track of it, but like mentally you're keeping track of it. I don't know. But hit that thing again, 2,000 tickets, and I was like, all right, cool. All I had to do was win like 300 tickets more, and I was like, cool. I walked out with the slowpoke onesie, so fuck yeah, dude. And the retract or rewind a bit on my one last thing I want to say. After round 1, my some of the thespians were putting on a show here. I like to support them. So and it was I couldn't go for their earlier showing. Because we were still doing finals. So like, all right, I hit their last showing. There's a reason why I don't go to the last showing, a little bit like subconsciously, and I should have realized this halfway through. But it was their final show. Whenever they do final shows, they kind of have like a group together, and they did this thing where they give the special shout outs to the seniors to kind of give them their goodbyes. They have a show like next week kind of, but this is like one of the big ones too. They give their goodbyes, and then they kind of give their send off to our, because the student that we lost was a big thespian too. And I was feeling a bit emotional at the end because graduation is like around the corner, and I have a really solid group of seniors this time that I stuck with, and I get it gets bad during graduation. I'm bad at goodbyes, so I'm like, all right. And sure enough, they're giving their goodbyes. I'm getting a little emotional, but I'm okay. And I told the girlfriend, I was like, all right, hang back here for a second. I'm gonna go talk with a few of them and give them. I showed a few of them the shout out I gave to that player, and they're like, no, don't tell us, go away. We don't want to see it right now. I'm like, all right. And then I walk up and I saw one of my dudes who's in my film class, one of my main dudes who's awesome. I saw him crying finally, and when we lost our student, they were really good friends, and Hispanic males, shout out to us. We can't compound our emotions for shit because that's how we were raised. And so I see him crying for a second. I'm like, all right. I promise. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna make this worse for you. I tell him on my shoulder, I'm like, hey, come on, look. I was like, hey, so we won because he has one of his friends on the team. I'm like, we won. He's like, oh fuck yeah, we won. I was like, yeah. Let me show you this. And I show him the shout out. I look over at him and you saw like a big tear just fall. I'm like, oh fuck. And I'm like, all right, let this be the moment. And we both had a pretty solid cry about it. We're like, all right, let's just let it out there. I was like, I had to be the one. He was very stoked about it. He might have like got a little watery eyed, but didn't the first time. I was like, I had to be the one the first time around. And like, not everyone can cry. We can't all do it. Someone's got to kind of hold the fort down a little bit and keep everyone stable, and we'll keep it going. And I was like, all right, but I get my moments. So we had a moment and hugged it out and been like, it's been a tough year, you know, and it sucks that their senior year was plagued by that. But I was like, also like, who am I to preach emotions and then be the contrarian that I should be and like, and fuck that up, right? Like I gotta open up too. And then I felt bad though, cause I was like, the girlfriend saw me and she saw what I was going through. I was like, I'm gonna go say bye to everyone. And I was like, I shouldn't, but it is what it is. And I had watery eyes and I was like, oh no. And it's like, they're like, oh no, it's like seeing like your dad cry. They're like, I can't, like, I'm sorry. And so I walked up to my coworker, the work wife, and she was like, oh no. And I was like, yeah, had a good hug and kind of let it out a little more. She's like, are you okay? I was like, yeah, I need to go. Cause like, you guys are going to get emotional a little bit and I'm not here for that. Like, I can't be here for that. And she's like, it's okay. I was like, cool. Walked over to one of my other students and they had they were super close with that student and they saw me and they hadn't seen me cry ever. And they looked up and they're like, oh, no, you asshole. Don't do this. I hadn't cried yet. And I was like, I'm sorry. It was sweet, though. We had that moment. Yeah. Also, I want to mention, just because I know I'm talking a lot, but I had a busy week. I'm off to Colorado tomorrow for a chaperoning trip tomorrow.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And then next week, I'm off to Colorado again. I'm so tired. Concert was sick. But I will say, David, you liked it. I don't know, Kelsey, you saw it. I had a tweet. Their fucking 420 concert was a goddamn fan fiction come true. And I was with my boys for esports, so there's no way it was happening. Even if I knew, I would have chosen them. But I'm like, dude, but any other circumstance, I would have chosen that. Did you see what it was, Kels?
Yeah, I think I seen you mention it.
It was the Maynard James Keenan trifecta after 20 years finally happening. All three bands played one night. It was puts for a perfect circle, as we knew. Primus was chilling there, which, by the way, David, I know you don't like him. Primus puts a fun show on. They're fun. They're silly. They're weird, but like I had a good time. I think you should do those Coed tickets because it was a good time. They're super fun.
No, I can't stand their music.
It's not for everyone, but like they were such a good like in between like breather. I actually really enjoyed them. But because they were in LA, they got Tool out, and it wasn't just like last time where it was two members. It was the whole fucking band was there. They came out there and played a song, and I was like, what the fuck? And then Maynard stood the front man because he didn't move his mic. So that was the first time in also like 20 years that he's ever been like front and center for Tool, which does not happen. Or what the fuck? A bunch of fucking OG of Perfect Circle members were there. So they straight up got like the old lineup to play Judith. What the fuck? I'm like, holy shit. That was a goddamn fan fiction. Like that's like some people who are like, oh man, that one day it's gonna happen. It's like, nah, it just fucking happened. So I'm like, damn. If I had an inkling of a fact and I had the time, I was like, I would have driven out there for sure. LA, if you ever get a chance, like I said this last week for Gorillaz. LA, always go to LA concerts for Gorillaz. I said that last week. I should have fucking known for myself. LA, go to those because like those concerts, everyone lives there, right? So it's like, yeah, you get all the guest spots out there. So go to LA concerts. David hates LA.
I just really want to go to the Hollywood Bowl just in general. I feel like it'd be really cool.
I was almost close to going there for the Chester Bennington memorial.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, things got on the way. But yeah, that was. If you ever want to like, if you're a deep Linkin Park fan, you've never seen the Hollywood Bowl memorial concert, watch the Indiana performance. Will make the manliest man shed a tear. Because it's like the whole crowd sings along with it in the tune of it. The whole crowd's just singing it. No one else is playing. They're just playing instrumentals, and there's a spotlight on the mic, and it's glorious.
Yeah, I can only imagine like Shadow of the Day, how hard that would go at a Chester Bennington Memorial.
I'm surprised they just have not done another concert, honestly.
Well, the rumor is they're supposedly coming back for a new album, new lead singer. So they just released like a greatest hits, paper cuts.
Yeah. Which, funnily enough, are you a Linkin Park fan?
Oh yeah, fuck yeah. Dude.
What do you? Okay, we're gonna might have some words in a second. What do you think of Hunting Party?
I'm a Linkin Park fan that doesn't like a whole lot of their new stuff, and I'm kind of in the page where I'm like, I have plenty of the old stuff that I love and can still play. They can do whatever they want with their new stuff, and I'm just not gonna.
Do you know what the Hunting Party is? Which one that one is? That's the like really heavy rock one. Yeah, April, yes, for Gorilla, isn't it? Also, is this going to lead to another music game? Probably at this point. I think we're so starved to talk about music on this podcast after this many episodes that we're kind of like freeing about it. So,
not another music podcast.
Yeah. So Hunting Party is like their heaviest album for sure. It's a lot more rock oriented, which is why I asked you because I feel like you would have liked that.
See, my whole thing is like I don't care about the rock part. I just like the new metal part. So like whenever I'm thinking like Linkin Park and what I like about Linkin Park, there's a few songs I'd probably go to, but I think Meteora is like almost like a perfect album from start to end.
My dude, like, Meteora is their best album.
Yeah, I don't think there's a song on there like I would consider like, oh yeah, I'm gonna skip this. If
dude, every song on there is a banger.
Yeah, that was one I picked up at Record Store Day, I think last year. Speaking of, Record Store Day was this weekend.
I fucked up. It was on 420, so I fucked up because I was doing the esports thing, but I wanted to get that Gorillaz album, so I fucked up.
A likely story.
Yeah.
I almost grabbed it because it was like one of the only albums left there whenever I went on Sunday.
I would have asked you to buy it and I would have paid you for everything on that. Dude.
I'll go back. I'll see
if it's there, please, because I will. Before we get back to that, April, what's your favorite Gorillaz song and album? Best album is Demon Days because I think I love an album that's coherent in theme and storytelling the all the way through. And favorite song, I get that it's overplayed now, but it's On Melancholy Hill. Specifically, I also like the acoustic version of that. A lot more gentle, a lot more soft spoken. I love the acoustic version of that. I feel like it's kind of outdated now because that song jumped to one of their best ones or one of their most popular songs. But I stand on my ground. Glad you agree, Meteora. I feel like a lot of fans will just go straight to Hybrid Theory. Hybrid Theory is like, Hybrid Theory is great, but I feel like Meteora just like takes Hybrid Theory and ups it to 11.
Yeah, I feel like Hybrid Theory might have like Paper Cuts, one of my favorite songs by him. So it might have like one of my individual or like a few songs I just really love by them. But I think like from start to end, Meteora is definitely my favorite.
Yeah,
I think Hybrid Theory remixes hits just a bit harder though.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are great, dude.
For sure.
I saw, what was it? I saw someone was doing karaoke in the end, but they were just doing the in the end remix bars. And I was like, bro, I'd buy that guy a drink afterwards. I'm like, all right, dude, you nailed it. That's
Don't
one.
Don't get me started on the Jay-Z fucking crossover album.
Oh, what? Let's hear it.
Oh, it's just one of the best. Like, I think personally, it's one of my. I think it's one of the best like remix albums.
This
like,
is why we're here, dude.
It's insane. It's one of those moments like you don't. That would never happen now.
No.
Like,
what
the? Because I'm thinking like, okay, well, I have one example where it's happened. Spirit Box did a song with Megan Thee Stallion. But that's not Jay-Z. That's like just like an entry, like radio.
You know what kind of did was the Grammys that 1 year. Remember where they just like mashed up people? Now, will anyone do it on a full album basis and nail it?
Yeah.
No, so you're correct on that. But like that concert had Imagine Dragons and Kendrick together. It had Queens of the Stone Age, 9 Inch Nails, and someone else I think together, and it had Daft Punk and Stevie Wonder together. And it had one more I could have sworn.
Maybe Daft Punk and Kanye probably be like the closest to
with Yeezus. Yeah, I could see that. But dude, I remember back in middle school when I was like buying CDs and my friend saw that, he's like, yeah, I don't get that. It's not good because he's a big rock head back then. I was like, all right. But dude,
Rockheads hated new metal, dude.
99 Problems, the 99 Problems mix is like one of my top favorite songs. We will do that version at karaoke. Me and one of my friends will just rock that version out there. And my friend likes making beats and making raps. And he likes to mix in a bunch of random songs together. Sometimes just in his head, he'll just pop. We'll like do car karaoke, and he'll just drop a verse from another song, and it fits perfectly. Yeah. And so in 99 Problems, in the bridge, I think towards the last bit where it turns into One Step Closer, he drops the Kendrick Lamar backseat freestyle mix chorus in with that, and it just fits. So like that's just become a custom for us whenever we're jamming out to. We just drop that verse in there now. It's so good. So I'm a pretty big Linkin Park fan. I actually fuck with a lot of their stuff. It doesn't matter just like what era. I'm a pretty big fan overall. I was a pretty big believer. I like pop music too. So like the last album that they had was fine. I liked it actually, and everyone talked shit on it. I'm like, dude, they changed their genre like every album. Like, who the fuck cares? They have it's a pop album. Wait for the next album. They literally their last album before that was like pure rock, like I was mentioning. And it's like whatever. They have pop album. Fuck it. Like it's.
And honestly, I feel like if I went back and re-listened to some of the stuff that I didn't like nowadays with my like smart adult brain and not my dumb kid brain, I'd probably enjoy it a whole lot more.
Right.
So that's probably something I definitely need to do.
You know, I think I've always wanted to do like a re-listen series, not like a rewatch, but like just do that. Like just go back to that and just see where we're at with it. But I mentioned all that in a roundabout way because Paper Cuts has all their hits, but Hunting Party is my least favorite Linkin Park album because I try to. Everyone like hardcore Linkin Park fans will like die for that album, and I keep trying. I am still going to keep trying to get into it. It just doesn't click with me. And that's the only album that there's no singles on for that one. It's unfortunate, but Linkin Park, great band. Chester was fucking incredible at vocals. Tragic that it happened. What was that?
He played a Nazi in Saw 7, I think.
His skin ripped from the seat. Hell yeah. But yeah, that's good stuff.
Crank 2 as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Prolific character actor.
That's a band I can go back to pretty much anytime though. Always fun.
Oh, for sure. Really good car ride music, like when you stay awake. It's usually Limp Bizkit and Linkin Park.
Limp Bizkit is a band that I never took seriously, but like have slowly been hearing people like talk me into it a little bit more, and I on a whim I asked the work wife's husband. I'm like, hey, you strike me as a Limp Bizkit fan. He's like, yep. I'm like, if I asked you to sell me on it,
you look like you were either into early aughts of wrestling, and so would have heard a lot of this soundtrack, or probably were just a weirdo fucking new metal person.
I don't know if he was
a big Undertaker fan.
I don't know if he's a wrestling fan. He was a Jackass kid for sure. But I was like, you guys sell me. And he's like, one day we'll sit down and I'll get you the lore and get you in the Limp Bizkit. I'm like, all right, I'll open my mind to it. But Linkin Park, it gets all cart growing.
It was so weird because like growing up, it's like Limp Bizkit was kind of everywhere, especially like people I hung out with at school, everything like that. And then on top of it, like me being like the gamer, like he was popping up in wrestling games. He was in like backyard wrestling. He was in like WWF games and shit like that. And then like he was Undertaker's theme song for 4 or 5 years or so. Even if he wasn't
during the American Badass era.
Yeah, even if he wasn't in the game as a playable character, he was still there in spirit. So it was a really weird time.
Let me see.
And I think My Way was also the theme of like Backlash one year.
That's right. Yeah.
I want to see if Kels is on the same wavelength as me because this is where we could differentiate of like insanity. I also know we like to joke because it's funny because before I had met him, my coworker was like, "I'm so excited for you." By then, my fiance, like, you guys are gonna get along so much. Favorite? Okay, before you leave, favorite song might be Rhinestone Eyes or the Pink Phantom album might be Demon Days of Plastic Beach. Both fantastic songs, both fantastic albums. I think Pink Phantom goes hard. That's the one with Elton John. Gotta go. Mm-hmm. But y'all continue to chill music podcast at this point, right? I was telling him when you left, I was like,
hours will be here.
Yeah, I was telling Kels, I'm like, it's because we've just never had a chance to talk music over the 250 episodes now that we're finding like, all right, let's get it out.
Yeah, we talked about a bunch of music last time too.
Right, it's gonna
That's all we
happen.
talked about last.
She was like, I want you to meet my husband. I feel like you should get along, and sure enough, we did. And I'm so glad I didn't meet you when I was like in my early to mid 20s because that would have been chaos. He is like me, but like having derailed and gone that way that I if I was more of a chaotic mind would have gone, which I fuel that though. Like so like I would have also gone that way. Because he's very much like a jackass person. Like I'll get videos of him just get kicked in the balls randomly. I'm like, that's hilarious. Uh, um, but he mentioned he was like we mentioned uh we mentioned ICP, and we're like, do they still do the gathering? Dude,
Yeah.
let's go to the gathering of the Juggalos one year. I was like, if you had told me like 10 years ago, I'd be like, that's the dumbest thing ever. Now I'm like, oh fuck, dude. I would love to go.
It's still the dumbest thing ever, but for different reasons.
It's also wild to me how still also ingrained ICP is with wrestling.
Yeah.
Fucking, I don't remember the lead clown's name there, but just
Violent
last
J.
year,
Oh, was it?
Violent J maybe. Is
Oh, that
it?
sounds
Yeah,
right. That
yeah,
sounds right.
Violent J.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He actually had his air quotes last match wrestling over in New Japan. Motherfucker was still busting out goddamn moonsaults. And it's like, you know what? Anyone that's willing to, in their 50s, go ahead, and especially not as like a day-to-day trained wrestler, go ahead and fucking risk themselves with a moonsault. All right, fucking mad props.
Right.
Yeah, that's how I first like came in contact with them because they were in the backyard wrestling game.
Yep. They also were in WWF for a period.
Yeah.
They were all right. Now I'm fucking digging in my brain here. They originally got their wrestling start technically in WWF as part of the Oddities stable, where it was Luna Vachon, Kurgan, I think like Proto Goldust, and like one other person. And then they turned on the Oddities and became heel. But then they later left them it was like either 99 or 2000, join WCW, to which they started the Dark Carnival faction. And they were feuding with the Kiss Demon when that was a thing, which ended up leading to a rivalry with Sting as well.
Yeah, and so I knew him as the wrestling guys, and I had a buddy that like I made friends with him, yada yada yada. Then of course it goes into music. It's like, oh, have you heard of these guys in Clown Posse? It's like, the wrestlers. Is that what you're talking about? It's like, no, dude, the rappers. Like, nah, I'm pretty sure they're. Yeah.
Man, but I would love to go to the gathering.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be interesting to go. I'd definitely go see it, but I feel like it'd smell like.
Yeah, I'm ready to experience the worst thing ever, but like enthusiastically. So, I'll let you know if we go. Like, there was a strong talk. If not this year, then probably next year because this year's kind of booked. All right, we talked a lot about random stuff now. Actually, even what I play, Balatro. I'm like 46 hours into that game. Let's see. I wanted to play something on Steam Deck, Xbox. Games that had sales. So I got Forza Horizon 4 on Steam Deck. Good time.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think that's about it. All right. Kels, what'd you get this week? Give us some. Give those trade goodies, right?
Yeah, for sure. I actually do have some more comics.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So, So I got the old Ultimate Black Panther, number 3.
Good shit.
Yeah, it's really good, and they had a variant. I don't know what the connection is, but Boss Logic is doing a variant for every issue.
Interesting.
Oh, that's cool. I like that one.
I like this one, so I went ahead and copped this one. And I seen he was doing the other ones, and I'm kind of tempted to go ahead and grab those too because they're all really cool looking. But Ultimate Black Panther is super interesting right now. So it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier. The Ultimate Universe comics, I think it'd be really cool if that's what they did for the MCU, but I feel like it'd be a little bit more involved to get there because the comics just went through another Secret Wars as well with this time it was Reed as the Maker kind of
Really? Okay.
and doing everything. Yeah, and so the TLDR on it is Reed pretty much ends up all the power in his hands. He remakes the continuity to where pretty much it's him and like an alliance of supervillains, kind of like a evil Illuminati, and he's set everything back to how he wants it, but he's taken heroes out of the equation.
Okay.
Or he's tried to, but certain bits and pieces seep through the cracks due to whatever reason. Black Panther being one of them, and we're not quite sure why yet, like why those are there.
Fill in my brain a little bit because I've been in and out of comics, modern comics for a bit here. What was Reed's son involved at all at the apex of that? 'Cause I know for a bit they were trying to build up his son as basically the next one to kind of take over.
Yeah, I didn't read a whole lot of that Secret Wars. I need to go back. I just did like the last like little run of it. It was like a 4 or 5 comic run, kind of like it was kind of like this is the end / lead in because they already now Spider shit coming out. So it's pretty much just like, hey, this is how it's ending, but also how beginning. So I'm not too sure if they do anything with Nathaniel, Victoria or Veronica. I can't remember the daughter's name, but I'm not too sure if they do a whole lot there or not, because it's a different Reed. I forget what universe he comes from. It might be the original content.
You have a good read on it?
Yeah, I need a good read.
Yeah.
Because I think that's why they did it too, because continuity was really fucky with comic MCU or comic Marvel, because Secret Wars has happened like a few times now, and it's like mishmatched and then like merged all into one universe and separated back out.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but there was also a storyline somewhere in the last few years that I kind of vaguely remember, where like in order to solve the problem, Iron Man tried to make everyone as smart as him, and it actually hurt them because that made Richards as smart as him, thus nerfing Richards' intelligence.
Yeah, there's not been a whole of great stuff, and like, so that's what's so weird about the Ultimate Universe. I feel like they're going all in on it while having like 50 different branching. Like you have Amazing Spider-Man still going on, all the different universes. This Avengers Twilight.
You're cutting out a little bit.
My bad.
Okay.
So yeah, it just comes back to Ultimate Universe feels like they're trying to set everything straight, and they're also trying to maybe set some stones like in place for the MCU. But at the same time, like they have 50 other comics like pulling everything different directions, different stories, different continuities. So it's kind of weird going like. That's my biggest issue with Western comics is there's so many different runs, so many different stories. Like you said, the dumbing of people down. I don't think that was in like the Ultimate Universe or whatever, but it could have been.
Yeah, I don't think it was Ultimate. I think that was like one of the more recent like 616 storylines.
Yeah, it's like fuck. I don't know. I can't keep track of which one's 616 right now, man.
What's your thoughts on Galactica being a thing?
Like for
that Marvel game
Rivals.
Yeah,
I think Galactica's only appeared like a few times. Like she
was in a one shot, and then I think maybe one other time, and that was it.
And I only know of her because I think I've seen like Tumblr like posts or some shit, and like, okay, some people are getting weird. Oh no, it's actually a real thing. All right, guess Galactus has a daughter now.
Who yeah, I ended up buying the one shot. I need to read it, but it's that she has the same hunger, but she uses it for good.
Yeah, exactly. She's like the inverse, and it's like, okay, which kind of makes sense with like all the daughter character or kid characters of the characters.
Yeah, it's funny because they're like, yeah, the rebel girl. I'm just gonna like, yeah, I don't want to do what my dad does. Let me do the opposite.
Yeah, but with the new Ultimate run, I think it's really that they're about to start off the Ultimates next month, I believe, which is the run of the Avengers. It's really interesting how they've mixed it up because okay, so the Maker exists, from a timeline. He's controlling all the strings. But Reed also exists in this timeline, but he's the original Reed, but the Maker has locked him in Doom's armor. So he's kind of like giving him like the ultimate kind of what if for Doom, I guess. Tony Stark's a kid. He's Iron Lad.
Right.
Captain America's seems to be.
Wait. Tony Stark is Iron? Well, I thought it was a Kang variant.
It is. That's what's weird about it.
Weird.
Yeah, that's what's weird about it, because we're not too sure about it right now, because all we know of him is he. So the Ultimates takes place 5 years in the future of this line, but he's come back. He sent a capsule back to the past to Peter, because Peter's like 35. He's in his mid 30s, powers, but has a family. He's married, happily married with Mary Jane. They have 2 kids.
That'd be a wild. That'd be a wild universe. Peter Parker and Aunt May. All right.
And so Tony goes back in time, gives Peter a Stark Tech suit and the spider, and pretty much tells him like, "Hey, something's not right. If you want to make it right, here's the stuff to make it right." And pretty much it goes from there. And so we know Iron Lad's in there, but it's Tony. We know we have Reed. We know we have Thor. I think they did something fucky with Thor too. Because Ultimate Thor is really weird too. He was a fucking prick.
Yeah.
And so this one, I think he's still kind of a prick, but like we don't know a whole lot yet. We have Ant-Man. We have Wasp. I think that's it for like the line. It's kind of like a pretty cut and dry lineup, pretty basic lineup.
Interesting.
But yeah, it's really good so far. And to tie it up, Avengers Twilight is another one. It's kind of like it's Alex Ross. He's doing like all the art for it, and it's almost like Marvel's Kingdom Come, if you're familiar with the DC story. But it centers on Cap and like pretty much getting the band back together.
Yeah.
It's really good so far. I really enjoy it. Alex Ross is goated comic book artist. One of the best. He only does the covers. Only bad thing, I wish he did the full art, but probably won't see that. After Comic Book Corner, we have, so this is part of what I did this week. Went to a concert for this little hardcore band called Jesus Piece. Got my album signed.
Nice.
So that was a whole lot of fun. Sold out show down in Dallas. Very packed. A lot of people. A lot of fights happening.
Hell yeah.
Hey, where are you based at?
I'm in Oklahoma.
Okay.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, dead center, boy.
Are you okay? Last time I got pulled over was in Oklahoma.
Oh no.
It was that.
Same.
It was that. It was that Panhandle part.
Oh yeah.
Where there's literally nothing.
Yeah, there's nothing out there.
And when I was driving to, I was actually driving from our boy Jordan's wedding, and that's when I experienced how small towns the meme is, where it's like every 15 feet is a speed limit sign.
Yep.
And there's like a gas station, a high school, a mill, and like one neighborhood, and then you're done.
Maybe a Dairy Queen.
Yeah. And I swear because I had to drive overnight to get to there because it was a very last minute trip. And I remember I was driving through there and I thought I was going crazy because it was like 1 o'clock at night. And I'm like, I swear to God, I passed this town 3 times. Like, I'm not even being funny or ironic. I swear I passed this exact town 3 or 4 times.
That's 100% how it feels.
Yeah. But yeah, I've never hit Oklahoma City. I wanted to hit that last time, but it's like as an hour to my trip. I'm like, I don't know if I want to do anything by driving to the city, but yeah.
Yeah, no chill place. But yeah, drove down to Dallas. It's only like 4-hour drive there for me. Me and Buddy went down, did the show. A lot of fun. First 2 bands I hadn't heard of, but the Co-Main and Main. Co-Main was they're like a sludge metal, heavy metal, Sangui Sugabog. They're really good. They're fucking insane. And then Jesus Piece was the headliner. They're a hardcore band from Philly. So this venue was really cool because I've been to a bunch of venues and like, especially here lately, I feel like they've been putting the guardrails up more and kind of spacing out from the stage. This place, no guardrail. Stage was up higher, so it was perfect, especially for short people. I'm not short, but like my wife is. She always has issues when we go to shows. But it was like perfect because people were climbing, jumping off. So it was a rowdy environment, a lot of fun. People were throwing trash cans, so it was cool.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it was a fucking show.
Nice.
Banger. And got my shit signed, so plus.
Nice.
Got Buc-ee's, got In-N-Out. Perfect.
Good stuff. I've never been to a Buc-ee's.
Ooh,
It's crazy. I've been
you
all
need
over
some
the
beaver nuggets, boy.
I have a Buc-ee's plush in my classroom because my friend donated some plushies. I want to hit a Buc-ee's one day.
Stolen valor.
I love insulting people by hitting up the In-N-Out in Dallas. I'm like, best burger in Dallas, and everyone's like, fuck that.
Dude, those Neapolitan shakes, they're so good.
They are, and it's cheap. That's what people don't get. It's like, I had bigger burgers. I'm like, yeah, they're probably also 4 or 5 times the cost. Like, that's fine.
Yeah, you can get like chips and fries, animal style. Fuck you up your burger for like $10. It's like, oh my god, this is so good.
Really quick on the subject of comics, Tom King, like or not, or Tom King is the one that did Vision.
Right? Oh, Vision. Okay. Like I mean, I like Vision. Like
Vision, Miracle Man, I think.
Like I can't think of like any like certain runs of his off the top. But yeah, I fucking hate that.
Because I'm actually a big Tom King fan on that. He's done like I love Vision. I think Vision's awesome.
There's very few artists where I'm like, or like creators in the space where I'm just like, yeah, I'm just not gonna. I think Garth Ennis was probably one of them. Like if he puts something out, I'm just like, yeah, that's not my style. Probably anything new from like Frank Miller, stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, this.
I was gonna say, yeah, Frank Miller. I mean, actually, even a little bit during Dark Knight. I understand why a lot of people appreciate Dark Knight, but Dark Knight was really where he started to fucking lose the plot for me.
For sure.
And really just go haywire. Like seeing his editor's notes regarding Vicky Vale and all the other shit. It's like, oh, you're kind of a disgusting fucking dude.
Yeah, and like he did like a lot of really terrible shit with Daredevil. Granted, it was like a really good run too, but yeah, he definitely he's a fucked up guy.
And you know, I'm gonna say it, and it's gonna be controversial for a lot of people, but also Rob Liefeld. I can't stand most of his shit.
Yeah, no, for sure. There's a super funny interview with Rob, Stan, and Todd McFarlane, and the whole time, like Stan is just ripping on Liefeld, just talking mad shit to him, and Todd's just kind of like giggling and like, because he's like a big Stan, like super fan. He's like he's like, oh yeah, that's fucking. Stan's just ripping on Liefeld.
Hell yeah!
But I completely agree with you. He's I don't want to say hack, because he has done like a lot of good stuff. Like he's brought in some good things that have lasted. But yeah, he's one of those like, you did good, but how much of it was you?
Exactly. Like even Deadpool's like, yes, congratulations, you kind of came up with the initial concept, but you're not the one that made Deadpool.
Right. You might have came up with it, but you probably, it's not like, it's kind of like the whole Stan Lee and Spider-Man. Like, yeah, Stan Lee like wrote Peter, like brought it and kind of like brought the story to life, but he's not the one like putting into our heads like who Spider is, who Peter is. Like it's a good story, but it's not.
Or like when it comes to X-Men, where it's like Chris Claremont may not have been the creator of X-Men, but he was the one that made X-Men.
For sure. For sure. But yeah, for me to avoid an artist now, I think it'd have to be for like, I don't want to say heinous shit, but for just like shit that I'm just not into anymore. And that's why like Garth Ennis is one that came to mind, just because I feel like his shit's like so hateful just to be hateful at points. It's just like, I'm not looking at it. Like, it's there if I want it, and I think it's done better, so I can probably get it elsewhere. So I'm just not gonna go looking for it. Mark Miller, I think he's out of touch. He's probably lost a step or two. So it's like, yeah, I'm just not gonna touch that.
Yeah, I was curious about Tom King because I love Vision, Mr. Miracle. I got 2 of the other ones. I just like the dark way he writes. It is kind of all cookie cutter in a way, but I still like it.
I don't know why. I swear you said Don King, and my brain just went down.
Yeah, you made a face like that for a second. I'm like, I don't know if you know who I'm talking about. Cool. Got anything else?
No, that was it for me. Just a comics record, and that's it.
David?
Oh, he did Supergirl also. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Which Supergirl though?
The newest one, the one that they're basing the movies off of.
Woman of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what I'm excited for. He writes like very just like jaded, kind of like fucked up, but real ways. Like, and there's really cool stuff in there. He did his whole Dark Side Is thing. I don't know. I fuck with his collections. Like Vision's really good, and I WandaVision kind of had hints of what that was gonna be, but a full Vision thing would have been amazing. Highly recommended. I got 2 copies of that. I got the paperback and the hardcover.
See, it looks like the issue is he does mostly like DC minus like Vision stuff. And,
Yeah.
Like, almost exclusively. I do read a lot of Image, but I'm more Marvel whenever I'm buying comics.
That's fair.
Image I don't mind once in a while, but they kind of fall into that same camp of like Dark Horse, where it's like once in a while they get like an amazing banger, but the rest is just like, eh.
Yeah, for sure. Like for every Invincible, have like a random one that just kind of like falls after four issues or whatever.
Sure.
But there are some other good ones that aren't Invincible or Walking Dead. Like you have Stillwater. Stillwater is a really good one.
I've been meaning to check that one out.
Yeah. Fuck, I feel like there's like a vampire one or something that I remember reading those. But yeah, there's and IDW's another one. They just like put out like sneaky banger. It's like, oh shit, all right, I see you.
I mean, let's be honest. We know you're all about the Lady Death.
Oh yeah.
And the Red Sonja, another one we know you're all about.
Well, right now they're doing it's a crossover with G.I. Joe. It's like a whole like shared universe. It's called Void Rivals.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I think it's recently, like within the last week or so, they announced like officially Transformers and G.I. Joe are crossing over. I think it was at CinemaCon they announced it, or it was like one leak thing that they showed at CinemaCon. So
it reminds me of that Jurassic Park and Men in Black thing. Was it? No, it was Jurassic Park and Fast and
21
Furious.
Jump Street.
Was it?
Oh.
Was it? It might have been. It was something weird along those lines. No, it's 21 Jump Street and Men in Black.
Yeah.
And then people wanted the Fast and Furious in Jurassic Park.
Oh yeah, my bad. There you go.
Fuck.
Men in Black and 21 Jump Street was like this close to happening. It fell through fell through very last minute, and then people were like joking about the thing. But I think people like the executives were like, maybe.
Yeah, but no, G.I. Joe and Transformers, Hasbro. So I mean, completely possible. And
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, have you watched the newest movie? I can't even the Beast Wars one. That one is
because I saw that it was Beast Wars. I'm like, no, I'm all good.
Yeah, no.
I loved Beast Wars back in the day, but I'm all set with seeing a modern version of it.
Yeah, no, it wasn't good at all. But at the very end, kind of hint at. I think they hint at Cobra Commander or something like that. And now they officially announced it's crossing over.
Interesting.
So I just wonder if it's going to like pull from the comic. The comics so far are pretty cool. I haven't read them all. It's like, but shit can also be cool in comic. Terrible on screen.
Right.
I mean, we did have a comic series of Godzilla tearing apart Hell, so.
That's true. Yeah, and I think was it Justice League just fought Godzilla in like
Kels, can you turn on your sensitivity in your mic a little bit higher?
I think I need to like bring it closer or something. I just keep on like getting excited and moving away from it.
You move closer to your mic to breathe.
Yeah.
David?
Move away.
Also, forgot to mention it last time when we were doing a big conversation on comic books. No. That is coming this paycheck.
God. Nice.
But no, when we were last talking about comics, I did get one of my grails a while back, aside from I still want to get my hands on Doom 2099. But one of my other favorite Doom comics, I did get a while back, which I was super fucking stoked when I did. And it was Doom Strange, fucking Sin and Punishment. I fucking love that run. It was such a good storyline. I don't know if you've read that one.
I've read some of the Doom and Strange stuff. I just don't know if I've read that one.
If you haven't read that one, highly recommend it. For me personally, Doctor Doom is my favorite Marvel villain, and I do love me some fucking Doctor Strange. But Sin and Punishment was a phenomenal fucking storyline. Absolutely goes into just the fantastic psychology of what fucking makes Doom tick, and it's just a fucking emotional gut punch of a story.
Yeah, I really. Oh, my bad.
No, you had first.
No, I think that whole pairing with Strange and Doom is like one of those really interesting ones. I feel like not a whole lot of people can really understand where Doom's coming from, and I feel like Steven is one of those characters that kind of can.
And especially where a lot of writers overlook the fact that Doom is a sorcerer.
Right.
Like they just lay into the technology part, and it's like, yeah, he's a scientist, but like, dude also grew up with magic.
Yeah, or if you've only seen the movies, you're gonna think that he has electric powers.
Exactly.
Yeah, so he's been like one of those been kind of super weird with like his adaptations and like how he's been portrayed, because yeah, like you said, a lot of people tend to forget that he is highly like magic based, like almost first and foremost, after being like a very charismatic character.
Right. David, what'd you get?
Yeah, so what I got here, so gotta start with these. We're just gonna pretty much go in a good chunk here. Speaking of 360 stuff, I got a bunch of the Kinect games that I'm missing, because I do want a full set of all the Kinect required games, just because I think they're a fun novelty. So we got Kinect Sports, and we got Kinectimals here. But I did manage to snag 2 of these. I know there's like a weird subsect of people that collect these, and I think these are the first in my collection. It's the Sports Connect 2 and Dance Central 2, but it's specifically the ones from like Microsoft Store employees. I see these go up on sale every so often, and I don't necessarily care about collecting like that level of a weird variant.
Is that a sticker?
Yeah, it's a sticker they put on, but it's specifically for a while. Microsoft in their employee stores would sell Xbox games.
Is there any other difference?
And they would slap these right on top of the fucking cases.
Is there any other difference about them?
No. That's the only difference, is that they would just throw on that this was from the employee store, and if they hadn't Sharpie this out, it would actually be the employee name and employee number.
Weird. Why?
Their social, their address.
No idea why, but it's just kind of like a weird thing in the 360 collecting community of like, there are some people that specifically try to find copies that have those stickers.
Is it because maybe they sold them at a deep discount and didn't want them to start flipping them?
Maybe I could kind of see that.
For free? It might like a incentive thing, like give out for free.
I know they did have to buy them because it was like in an actual like employee store.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Well, it could be like a reward store though.
Yeah. Like.
Oh yeah, like an employee kind of bonus kind of thing.
Yeah, meet you quarterly quotas or whatever.
And then you request it or something, and it like writes your name and it's how to deliver it to you, maybe.
Maybe.
Oh no, that's cool.
But yeah, so if you ever see those in the wild, there is like a weird subsect of people that like specifically collect those.
I'm good. That sticker's obnoxious.
Like
it's obnoxious. I don't necessarily care about it, but at the same time, it is kind of neat to at least as a conversation piece. Because again, like who fucking cares on Dance Central? You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I'm fine having that messed up. Speaking of dancing, we got Dance Dance Revolution Ultramix 2, and fucking Revolution Universe, because I do unironically love me some fucking DDR.
I see, like I love DDR in the sense I love watching people play.
Dude, people that play that game are nuts.
Yeah, like
I played a lot in my teen years, and I would love to have a house that would support me fucking playing it again.
I love whenever like the most unexpected person hops up and just starts fucking.
Bro, okay, I'm not.
That's our buddy Sigma.
Yeah, I'm not trying to call him out or anything, but Sigma's a big dude. But Sigma can fucking.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he can just rock that, which is great. Good for him.
Yeah, it's fucking sick. It's like just recently, like I seen a video is Voice Critical doing DDR.
Oh.
It's like what the fuck? That's so random.
He's he's like my size, which is nice. I think he's shorter than me. I think he's 5'6".
It's kind of like when you see someone juggle for the first time. It's like, whoa, where'd that come from?
Right.
You had that in you?
Because it's like a specific type of footwork.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, what's that plate you're eating? I see. What's on dinner?
Some tacos. My wife brought it in to me.
Oh, there you go.
Some tacos.
Shouts to Mrs. Kells.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Anything else, David?
Hell yeah. No, I got plenty more stuff. So I got, I mean, it's supposed to technically two of the same game, but they're different versions. Again, trying to get an entire Wii U library. So we got Disney Infinity 2.0 and 3.0.
Good luck with some of those.
Where's all the
Devil's Third is the biggest one I'm looking forward to. Yeah, that too.
I almost got that the other day, or not the other day. Like I don't want to say the other day. I got that once, like about a year or two ago, when I was doing the Reddit trading stuff. I saw someone and we almost made a deal on that, but I didn't really give a shit enough about Pokemon Tales 2. I was like, it's gonna be
fair.
You finished your Smash Amiibo collection. You need to start collecting all the little
all the games that are in Smash.
It's GameCube, dude. That's the thing. That's the one that hovers over me. Fuck you, Disney sports basketball.
Yeah.
Now you need to start getting all the Infinity little toys.
No, shout outs to our friend Smartsky way back in the day. He would always collecting the Skylanders back before that, and I was like, oh no. And he had to like realize he's like I don't know why I keep buying these. I just do. He worked at a Toys R Us. Like, every time I see him, I just buy them. David, next up.
Yeah. Next up, I made a joke about this, and I was like, fuck it, I'm committing. So I got Monster Hunter 2 on PlayStation 2.
Nice.
As I continue my journey to get every fucking Monster Hunter game.
Nice.
That one does also have a fan translation, so you know what? Fuck it.
I'm gonna play it someday.
I'll play it someday. I fucking love me some Monster Hunter.
You're not playing it someday.
I love Monster Hunter.
Admit it.
I
Stop
know.
lying to yourself, though.
In terms of all the games that exist out there, that is higher up the list for me to eventually play than other games.
It's not gonna happen though.
It will eventually.
$20.
All right, $20, and
it's gotta
either
happen,
I die and you win.
It's gotta happen
or I'm in retirement and I play it.
It's gotta happen. Yeah, it's gotta happen like 5 years from now, because definitely not on the foreseeable list. And after, if you just happen to stumble upon your memory, you're like, oh yeah, let me go play that game.
It'll happen eventually. But anyways, aside from that, I traded in a bunch of fucking duplicates. A lot of what I've had as duplicates lately are sports games, though. So not much, but it was at least enough to get a piece of the collection I've been wanting, fill out that Wii library a little bit, and that is House of the Dead 2 and 3 Return.
Man, I wish they would bring that back for like, okay, so.
But good?
I'm wondering, yeah, but good, and like. It's one of those games, like, I feel like it has a place in VR now.
Dude, I was literally thinking as soon as you said that, like, dude, on the Quest, that would be
sick. Rail shooters haven't taken over VR, honestly.
Yeah.
They almost did.
We should be having Time Crisis, fucking House of the Dead.
Dude,
we should be having goddamn fucking, even Pokemon fucking Snap should be in fucking VR.
You know, the
fuck it. Every rail shooter should be in VR.
How what was it?
Snap is a rail shooter, huh?
It is.
Yeah.
Awesome.
What's the what's that PlayStation game that's the horror game that you watch?
Oh, Until Dawn.
Yeah, they had Until Dawn House of Horrors or whatever it was called, or
yeah,
Rush of Horrors.
Yeah.
And they had that, and that was like a on rails thing, but yeah, I don't know. Literally, as you were saying that, I was like, man, that'd be sick in Quest, because I've been playing that a little bit more just because I've been bringing that into the classroom.
Quest or like PSVR, like, because they have nothing. Why is like a rail shooter seems like relatively low budget? I would feel like.
Yeah, shout out to the PSVR though. That's not doing. That's not doing well. But I'm since busting out the Quest 2, it's 64 gigs also, which is like I got the smallest one. I'm like I think I'm gonna start eyeballing to upgrade that over the summer, because I'm hearing a lot of cool things about the Quest 3. And I don't know, man. I see all those games. I'm like, I know it's gonna collect dust after a while because I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't have the space for it. Maybe if I move, I'm planning on moving at the end of the year. I'm like, if I move and I have my own space again, like just enough. I'm like, I might just dive into that. David.
Well, like truly, there's so many fucking, and especially where for so many companies that have rail shooters in their fucking just library, they're not doing anything with. Like fucking imagine Panzer Dragoon fucking VR or Elemental Gear Gimmick VR or just. I mean, honestly, half the fucking Dreamcast library, fucking, let's be honest. Silent Scope VR would be fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know how that wasn't immediately the first fucking genre that took over VR.
Yeah.
And how it's still fucking rare for the genre.
Mm-hmm.
Bro.
Or for VR.
Oh my god. So I just got a Snapchat video from the work wife's husband. The caption says, "It's only Tuesday, but who cares?" And he's just shotgunning a beer. I'm telling you, dude, this dude's
with
like
his ass cheeks.
Yeah,
that's not far from what I've seen before. Honestly, I'm gonna keep it at that.
I mean, I had a work friend who was like, "You can't really call someone your friend if you haven't seen their balls." Yeah, he was someone that regularly during drinking parties would just take his balls out.
Yeah, I had a work friend. It was back in the day in college. I worked at Sonic, and he worked there with me. And he would randomly. It happened a few times. He sent me his dick in a hot dog bun.
Hell yeah. That's a true friend right there.
I remember I was visiting one of our friends.
Like, where's the chili?
I was visiting my friend Matt when I was doing my cross country trip, and he opened up a Snapchat and he kind of hid it. I'm like, "What are you looking at?" Yeah, you get some titties. He's like, "No, me and the dude just send pictures of us shitting." I'm like, "You guys are fucking weird." Yeah, no. David, what else did you get?
Oh, and I also had another buddy that would go ahead and he was really good at handstands. So what he would used to do is do a handstand, but then like prop sunglasses on top of his dick, and just would take fucking pictures like that.
Guys are so fucking stupid. There's a reason our life
men
expectancy
are fucking dumb is the moral of the story.
I didn't realize our life expectancy goes up when we're married, but it goes down for women when they're married, which is really funny.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, the girlfriend was showing me like a list of things, and it said that she originally she clicked die when she was 91, and I clicked mine. I was like, I died when I was like 76. And I'm like, well, good luck with those 20 years. She's like, all right, well now click if you were married and this. I'm like, oh, I went up to 86, and she went down to like 89 or like 87. I was like, oh,
it's even out.
Yeah. So, shouts to us.
Speaking of evening out, I got this 3DO gem right here. A game that was considered too ambitious for its own good, and that is the Yu Yu Hakusho fighting game on 3DO. It did something really clever for its time, where the way it designed the fighting game is it ripped the animation cells from the actual anime, and we're just like, fuck it, we'll just use the animation cells as the frames of the fighting game. Great concept, executed poorly because it basically was the equivalent of like babies first learning how to use Photoshop, and so there are times where like you can see the fucking where they're clipping the art from as it's superimposed into the background. But interesting little fighting game.
A lot of those PS1 anime fighters are like, you can find some surprising like gems in there, I feel like.
Yeah, you can find quite a few, honestly.
Because like, there's one for PS1. It was a Dragon Ball GT. It has like some
Final Bout.
to it. Yeah, Final Bout.
Yeah.
So fucking good.
That honestly was kind of fun, and it weirdly enough, Dragon Ball Z Ultimate Battle 22, the Saturn version is fantastic. The Saturn version fixes a lot of it. So a lot of issues that people had with it. If you had issues with that, go play the Saturn version. But to cap things off here, sticking with the 3DO library, I finally got this in, and I'm so excited to have it, and I'm so excited to never fucking open it because I have a 3DO disc emulator, so I never need to open and physically use 3DO games. So I can leave this baby minty sealed on the offhand chance down the road I ever need to sell it to make money back. And that is the collector's edition of D from Limited Run Games.
Nice. D's nuts.
D's nuts. But yeah, so I'm excited to
Give
have
him
that.
the D.
I actually said that to my buddies at work today. I'm like, I got some D coming in the
Can
mail
you give
today.
that to your partner?
Oh, I'll fucking give my partner the D, all right.
Hell yeah.
I actually did show her the video that was done by Stop Skeletons from Fighting, talking about the creator. Which, if you're not familiar with the creator of D, honestly, go watch that Stop Skeletons from Fighting video. The dude was like the epitome of fake it till you make it. Genuinely a really fascinating human being that was taken from this world way too early. I highly recommend going to watch that video. But yes, excited to have this. That'll forever remain sealed. And I honestly, at this point, because it's taken them 20 years to deliver this, forgot what was even in specifically the collector's version. But although good news is they said that maybe in the next 3 months they'll finally be shipping the GBA version of Night Trap. So we'll see if that fucking comes in or not one day.
GBA version of Night Trap?
They made one. Basically, they took advantage of the video codec that they had. There's something weirdly nostalgic about this. No, real quick. Can I just shout out to like how nostalgic this moment just felt right now, but like in a weird way, because we just had Kells hitting his fucking vape like a homie, and I'm like, man, that takes me back to the beginning days of this podcast when I was a human fog machine.
Yeah, I kept telling you to stop smoking. You said no, and then you finally did.
Well, that's because I had a partner that was like, can you not? I was like, okay.
Good stuff.
Real quick, I do have to ask, do you do nicotine in yours?
No.
Okay.
I live in a legal state.
I mean, my state is legal as well, but I've never gotten into that shit. But no, I only asked because when I was at my worst with it, I had to do 0.3 milligram nicotine because I was doing, I think it was like almost 200 watts of fucking power on my vape. So any more than 0.3 milligrams of nicotine, I'd give myself a nicotine headache.
Yeah, no, like I vape nicotine, like vape juice, like I tried it in college, but I did the same thing, and I think I scared myself away from it. Like I gave myself like a violently like terrible headache. I'm like, oh my god, I can't do this anymore. I think it was one of those things like, oh, do you want this percentage? I'm like, fuck it. Like I smoked cigarettes before. I can do this. I'm like, no.
Oh yeah, no, it's fucking holy shit. And then I used to smoke fucking hundreds. I had two go-tos. I kind of alternated. My first go-to was Marlboro Black 100s, and then the other was Camel Crush 100s. So those are my.
You drool a little bit when you say that.
Hell yeah! There's a nostalgic part of my brain that happened.
I know. Every time you mention, I know there's a part of you like, oh come on, just like one more hit.
But no, it's kind of one of those things that I am also very glad that my partner talked me out of it, because especially now in Maine, they push the super bullshit fucking law, one of these what I like to call think of the fucking children laws, where they've outlawed shipping nicotine products to Maine first and foremost. So you can only get your hands on nicotine-based products if you're a seller. And secondly, they have basically banned all flavored nicotine that isn't just regular or menthol. So you can't have any like fun flavors or anything like that. And coming as a person who my favorite flavor was, I can't even remember the company's name, but they had a flavor called Black Cavendish. That was my go-to. And it was a dark chocolate and cognac blend. That had like hints of oh fuck, I'm losing my voice. Fuck. There was also like hints of like bourbon or something else in there. And it was just so fucking smooth as a flavor. And then occasionally I did like a good root beer flavor or some kind of weird shit like that. But it has caused things to be so expensive. Because when I stopped vaping, if I was to go to a place locally to pick anything up, it was like $20 per 20 milligrams.
Yikes.
Yeah, I was like, fuck that. You could order online, and even for the fancier stuff I was ordering online, it would only be like $30 for like 150 milliliters or 150 milliliters. And it was like, oh, that's not terrible. But doing it fucking local is stupid expensive.
Think of the children.
Yeah, just think of the kids though.
It's fine, in light of that mass shooter we have hardened our gun laws as well. Which means now you have to wait a 3-day period before you get your gun.
Oh my goodness.
We're doing a lot to protect the children now.
Fuck! If I get it in 4, I can't kill everyone. Fuck!
That 3 days may make me reconsider wanting to shoot up a school.
Is it like post-nut clarity, but like just for deaths?
That's genuinely what the argument basically is. Of like, at least we're doing something. It's like, no, like I get we have a Second Amendment, but maybe we should finally agree that that's not the right way to do things.
It's like when you send an angry text and everyone's like, just sleep on it. It's like if you like write out a plan to kill people, just give it 3 days and let's see if you still want to do it. In 3 days, if you still want to do it, then all right, like, I guess you're gonna do it. So all these manifestos don't get written out like months and years prior, but fuck it,
Right.
David, what else did you get?
I got some shit on Steam, nothing worth really going over. Speaking of which, there is a Gmod sale going on right now. I need to grab a couple games on that list while I'm thinking of it at some point before the sale ends. TLDR, Gmod is a service from old Java phones only in Japan. And shout outs to that fucking company for doing everything in their power to basically bring back lost media. They have preserved almost every single Shin Megami Tensei game that was on Gmod. Games genuinely thought lost to fucking time are fucking back. And people have already been just ripping out the fan translations for these fucking games. A couple of the Lost Bible games that are on Gmod have fan translations, and the Persona 1 sequel-ish spin-off has a fan translation as well. So go show your support for Gmod on Steam. Fucking wild that they are preserving a lot of video game history. There's also some Darius games that they did and a few others. Fucking wild to see them just bringing shit back from the brink of what was thought to just be lost media. You love to see it.
Remember you say that?
That's cool.
Keep thinking of that Keanu Reeves. Yeah, I'm thinking of
Kanye Reeves.
Yeah, I'm back.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, shout outs to him as Shadow the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
Good for him. What?
I was about to say, David reminded me, Steam. I forgot I got a few things on Steam.
Yeah.
Last week, so they had a sale going on for the Fallout games. And of course I went through and I collected DLCs, Game of the Years for the, and I didn't have 4 on Steam, so I went ahead and caught 4, Game of the Year, all that, so.
Did
It was alright.
one of the news story I was going to talk about?
I haven't played the DLCs for them, so I was like, okay, $10 for Game of the Year. I'm in a hankering for Fallout anyways.
One of the stories I was going to mention was Shout Out 76 had 1 million people playing all at once the other day, and
Holy hell.
5 million people all concurrently on the Fallout franchise. Fallout 3 sales spiked by 7,000%.
Bro, go back to what I said. Like, how do we not have a new something like 10 Nouns on the horizon trailer?
Well, they fucked up a little bit. So they have that next gen update coming up in a couple days, like 2 days. They accidentally overstepped on the Fallout mod for Fallout London.
Yeah, they fucked them.
Yeah, so that's unfortunate because they did fuck them pretty bad. So they have to delay that and deal with all that. But it's cool they're getting the Fallout franchise getting that. It's kind of wild, right? Because I'm sure Microsoft's like, can we just get someone to fucking make something at this point? Like,
Yeah.
please, someone chime in. If only we got those Obsidian guys to make New Vegas 2 while we were doing this, but fuck it, I guess.
Man, don't fucking do that to my heart.
Well,
I want that so bad.
I don't know if it's part of that or not, but there was another news story I've seen where supposedly Obsidian pitched ideas for Elder Scrolls spin-off, and Bethesda shot him down on it.
Well, that's what became of Arrow, or that's what Arrowhead, or what? Yeah, Avowed.
Arrowhead.
That's what that became.
Avowed, yeah. But apparently they had like plans for future games in the different series, but Bethesda just said fuck off.
But they need to figure out some other output because like we're not getting another Fallout proper game from them in a long fucking time. Like we're talking like next consoles for sure, 100,000,000,000%.
Oh yeah, because we're. How far off do you think we are from Elder Scrolls
2 years.
6? You think 2?
I'd peg him at 2 to 3 years. I'd be. I think
I would be shocked if we got it before next gen consoles are announced.
I think it might be a hybrid because I feel like because they delayed Starfield like a year, right? I have a feeling like they were prepping for that development and they kind of overlap because I think Starfield got delayed for the bugs to clean up the bugs because. To be fair, Starfield was like the best running. That's not saying much, but like the best running Bethesda game at launch, right? But I have a feeling that they were pre-production started on the Starfield original release date, and has just been kind of brewing up since then. And I'd wager what at that point because Starfield came out last year, so then 2022 it kind of started. So you give them like 4 or 5 years, so 2027 I would say. 2026, 2027 I feel like.
Yeah.
I feel like we're like closer to 5 years, maybe.
I would usually push them. I would usually go with that, but I feel like now with the fact that their whole studio doesn't depend on that, they could breathe a little bit more and they can like produce more. I feel like they're gonna have more support than last time, and I feel like they have to to recoup your losses.
Maybe. The only reason I say maybe is because one of the stories that we can just quickly go over as well. Is it's been confirmed that basically Microsoft has been entirely hands-off with Blizzard since acquiring them, and they intend to stay that way. So, if you were hoping, like me, that maybe Microsoft would step in and be like, all right, there's been some shit. Let's fucking clean house.
To be fair, they did, though. Like, Codex out, right? So, like, they have someone new in there, so I want to give the benefit of the doubt on that. I don't think that extends to Bethesda, though, seeing as how Redfall handled.
Yeah, well, for me, the whole Blizzard thing's really weird too because how are you not like pushing them to port WoW to a console? Like, I don't understand. Like, because like Final Fantasy just dropped for Xbox or beta for Xbox. I think.
Yeah, the beta dropped for Xbox,
and I think it's doing pretty decently. So why would Microsoft, their first party, like now what they own, to be the preemptive MMO? Like, I feel like they're losing space out on.
Yeah, like honestly, I have been saying that there should be a console version of WoW for fucking I feel like 10 years now.
Yeah, like right now, I think there's actually a controller mod for WoW that works really good too. So it's not even like you have to like dumb down the abilities or skills or anything.
I want to say,
and it's a fucking like almost 20-year-old engine at this point.
I'm trying to put myself in their shoes and figure this out. I would imagine. You got to roll out your presence in the studios, right? Because now it's kind of Phil Spencer splitting himself 45 different ways. Because they were like, hey, you can't just be hands off. You have to kind of manage shit after Redfall, right? I imagine that he can't just jump into, all right, I'm managing Activision Blizzard as well. Because that's a whole cacophony of just shit. So I imagine they have some people kind of like watching out. But like the restructuring and all that happened. It is what it is. So I imagine they're going to roll out to more control over it over time. But it does strike me weird because like what Toys for Bob went off of it, but then they made a deal with Microsoft afterwards for Crash.
Yeah, like that's another big thing. Like, how the fuck did Toys for Bob get out like scotch free? Like they detached and also got kind of like a deal to come back at any time. Like that seems
that seems like hell. You know what though? That's such good PR.
Huge. That's amazing PR.
That looks good to people like the FTE, right? When they're always trying to fucking do stuff, but also like in case there were any smaller acquisitions they want to do, I imagine that. But also we think about like I think that there has to be a clause where companies can get out of Microsoft a bit because like Twisted Pixel, remember them? they got out with Microsoft. They were bought it, but then just like they hopped right back out. Bungie obviously a big one that like for having the flagship series, like Microsoft could have had the stranglehold on them, but they're like, yeah, sure. So I mean, like I feel like Microsoft also kind of chill about it, like, yeah, all right, just make the deal like decent, and we'll be good with it too, maybe. But
I think my whole thing for it was just like how they were wrapped into Activision. It was like one of those things. I feel like once one of those big companies scoop you up like that, I feel like it's
you lose your identity. You were just now, you were just now employees for that more so. So
you hardly ever see them come back out and like take the they went into. They're either absorbed and then just like dissipated, people fired, company dissolved, whatever, or like Embracer, like they get sold off to someone else. But it's so weird that the company's like, we're independent again. That's awesome to see. That's so cool.
And shout out to them because they, along with a lot of like Sledgehammer and Raven Software, I wish would just like be able to be moved to like do their own thing again, because it sucks
Raven,
having everyone get folded into the Call of Duty cyclone of despair. Really tragic to see, because you got stuff like what was it? What was their game? Was
Hexen.
Hexen.
Hexen and Heretic.
What was the other one though? They had one. They had a really cool game that was like good in concept, didn't sell well, but like would have probably been fantastic if they had kept going with it.
A lot of people were thinking Hexen might come back too, because after
he was wearing the shirt.
So cool.
Yeah, he was wearing the shirt for it. Yeah.
The way they say it though is like a company really has to like step up and be like, we want to do this, and they're like, all right, cool. But Singularity is what they did.
Oh yeah, I love Singularity.
And that was one of those games that people loved, but like it just needed like a sequel to really kick it off there. And by the time later on rolled around, they were sunk into Black Ops and Modern Warfare, and that was it. Singularity is the last original game. So hopefully they get out of that.
Man, I want a new fucking goddamn Infamous.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not getting 100%. That. Sorry.
Yeah, too bad they're doing real superheroes now.
All right. I got some stuff on Steam as well, but we don't really need to go over those. I did get a couple, I guess I'll mention real quick. I bought Fable Anniversary and State of Decay 1 for Steam Deck, because I feel like those would be pretty solid games on the Steam Deck.
State of Decay is so good, and I feel like it's one of those, like, I don't know, it's like I have like a love-hate relationship with it. It's like, this is good, but I see where it could be better, and I feel like the second one doesn't improve on where I see it could be better.
Right, that's a lot of people said, was like, one is like everyone loves it, but it's janky love. Like everyone's like, you did
have it, but I haven't played it.
I booted it up a few times on 360, but that was like turning my phase of like, I have too many games and I have ADHD now. Yeah. But I feel like its home on Steam Deck would be pretty well, because it is kind of like, it's a 360 as game for sure. Fable Anniversary, I think I really want to play Fable for some reason. I need to pace it out and play my other stuff to like go back to Yakuza.
It's a good series. My partner's favorite game series, honestly.
I have to play that. And then I bought Automaton Lung. That was a 3DS game by some developer that was making really weird indie games, so I thought I'd grab that on there. And then Stonks 9800. Some
I've heard a lot of good things about that.
Yeah,
honestly.
Some stock market visual novel game. I'm like, cool. That sounds weird. I'm in. All right. Physical. I did the thing, guys. We mentioned it last week, kind of, and we saw Walmarts go a little crazy. So when I was in Phoenix, Arizona, I'm like, y'all have 17 Walmarts, so let's do some searching.
Oh yeah, 'cause they've been doing a lot of weird clearance shit.
Yeah, let's do some searching. Let's see if any games. I did Brickseek, which can be 50-50. Sometimes the games are there, sometimes they're not. So funny enough, I saw this on here, and this is why I went to this specific Walmart and did not see this, but they had it here in town, so I ended up grabbing when I got back. But I bought this for $5. Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania. Okay.
Hell yeah.
When I was there, I saw this for $5. Anno 1800.
Nice.
The good one that I got, though, that I'm super proud of, because I saw this online, and I was like, fuck, that would have been amazing to have. Saw this. Star Ocean 2, $20.
Fucking best goddamn game in the franchise. Good fucking choice.
$20 on Switch. I hear it runs really well. There's some loading times, but fuck it, I don't really care. I'm not that impatient to deal like Loading times and strikers is unfortunate, right? Because they add loading times in there, but it's just a couple seconds on the loading times there, which I'm like, yeah, that's fine.
And it's originally a PS1 game, which congratulations, you had a bit of loading time anyways.
Yeah, so $20 for that. Fuck yeah, good steal. I have a handful of news stories I want to go through really quick. I mentioned the Fallout stuff. Shouts to that franchise going well. I'm glad. I'm about 2.5 episodes in. I got halfway through episode 3 last night. The episodes are super dense, so
they feel a lot longer than they actually are.
It's good. Yeah. Every time you say that, it sounds bad, but like it's good. One of my students, like, I binged that series. I'm like, I don't know how you binged it, because like I need to take a break after every episode because it's just going through so much.
It almost feels like you're watching like almost like a short film. I feel like just
yeah,
like how much content is in. Because I feel like almost every episode's like a quest that it's like it's either the main quest or a side quest.
You know what?
Or
No, you're right. It's like going to like one main quest and 2 side quests, and then you're like, put the controller down because you're kind of tired on that.
You hit a save point.
Yeah. Shout out to episode 2. Michael Emerson is playing the scientist to give me Lost vibes immediately. I'm like, oh, this is fucking Lost for a second. And then I'm halfway through episode 3. I'm gonna finish it after the podcast.
Was it announced last week that season 2?
Yeah, it just got announced right afterwards. Season 2 cleared. Yeah. Good for them. I'm super excited for them.
Yeah.
Again, Jonathan Nolan and being Westworld and then want to do more Westworld kind of stuff with this makes total sense. Like, I didn't follow it, but like now reading into it, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah, there's no surprise that this is a hit. So good stuff to that. Hopefully, as some people are pointing out, I'm totally down with the full remake of Fallout 1 and 2 current. Like, that would be amazing.
I feel like that needs to be done, honestly, at this point. Like, I still enjoy Fallout 1 and 2 for what they are, but a modern Fallout fan would not go back and have fun with 1 and 2.
And you know what, though? Go ahead.
So it's kind of going back to what we were talking about with like how Obsidian can't touch it, any of the Bethesda games for whatever reason. We have Obsidian and inXile,
right?
The Microsoft like banner.
Let the Wasteland people just go in.
And a bunch of those dudes are the OGs that worked on Fallout 1
and 2. And the people when they heard that morning, they're like, baby, come back.
Right, exactly. Like, how the fuck are you not hitting them being like, all right, but Tom, whoever the fuck, y'all sit down, we're making this crack team, we're going to go ahead and do this.
You know what? That has to be in the works, though, right? Because Wasteland 3's out. There has to be something like that.
Well, inXile is working on that steampunk shooter.
Oh, it is.
Out. Yeah.
Are they big enough for 2 studios now, though?
Revolution?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, and they don't have to, like, well, it would be the Wasteland 3 remake of, like,
dude,
Fallout
if they
1
did
and 2.
it, like, almost identical to Wasteland 3, I'd be happy with it.
That's
Wasteland 3 is
happy with
amazing. I love that. I love Wasteland 2 and 3. Such good games.
But
so if they just
I need to play those at some point.
Yeah, I hear good stuff about them. That's kind of confuses me. I would love to be like a fly on the wall on some of these things. Like, surely if just casual ass normie fans like us that don't even really play these games like as hardcore as everyone else does, surely these discussions have to happen. Like, hey, people probably want this, right? I'm sure they also mentioned like, hey, can we do that? How does that stuff just like go not? Especially when like the brand of the Xbox itself is so on like wobbly, right, with people. It's like, I feel like we can go in there as Microsoft right now and tell people, hey, just do this, cool. But they might be just so hands off because they really are like, whoever wants to do this can do that. Dude, I'm rolling up there day one. All right, Rare. I don't give a fuck. What the fuck is the Everwild? I don't know what the fuck you guys have been doing for the last 7 years. Cut it
out.
Banjo-Kazooie 3. All right.
Yep.
Yeah, inXile. Remake Fallout 1 and 2. Go. Hey, Avowed's cool. Obsidian, you're doing great stuff. Finish your game. Do your thing. New Vegas 2 afterwards. Cool. All right. Go. All right. Who else? All right, Rare, you got enough people for more people? All right, you guys want to make a Crash game? Sure, fuck it, go for it. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like we could just go in there and just tell people to do that, but then I don't know. I don't know. It's so confusing.
On one hand, I appreciate to a degree
that they're not telling people to do what to do. Yes, I get that. But also, like, you kind of have to do something, and, like, with teams as big as they are, surely it can't be, like, the whole team's like, we don't want to touch Banjo-Kazooie, right? It's like, no, I'm sure
Not to
people are
mention,
like,
you
sure.
own so many wild IPs.
The IP with Microsoft now is so fucking nuts. Yo, I don't care, Microsoft. Fuck it. Hire someone. Can we get Killer Instinct again? Fuck it. I've been listening to the. I for whatever reason, the last like 2 weeks, I've had the Killer Instinct theme just rolling on my playlist. It's so fucking good. I forgot Mick Gordon did that. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah,
it's so good. I watched back the Maximilian Dude reactions where he just starts making caveman noises. Yep. Oh! You see Jago? Oh!
You know, and it's one of those things where, again, where a lot of your strategy at this point for your game division is Game Pass. Why would you not want to go ahead and capitalize on every IP in your fucking playbook and get either a modern port of everything in your library or some new modern version in your fucking library?
Yeah, and it's so weird too because like I think Rare Replay was like a big like thing for Microsoft. It
still is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how
they could port that shit to Switch and it would do well, which I have no idea why they've not. I thought that was for sure going to be a thing.
And how is like the most cynical part of me is like how has Rare not been like hoarded out to a point to where we haven't gotten like party games, platform fighters,
they were
racers.
They were doing those the Avatar stuff for so long, but then like they did Sea of Thieves, which took a while to cook and is doing great now. Fantastic, I'm happy. The Everwild situation is why Microsoft needs to be like, all right, someone needs to roll up in there and be like, get your shit together, y'all. We don't even know what Everwild is. We've been paying your salaries for 7 years.
And at this point, like, I think it's supposed to be a survival like crafting game, right? So
we don't need any more of those.
Yeah, that train's moved. Like, just in the time it's been in development, it's like people working on a battle royale shooter right now. Like, who the fuck are you making this for?
Right.
Like, there's established pillars there, and even then, the trends have moved past it.
I get that. Like David said, it's like I appreciate they're not overstepping and forcing things on them, but we're not talking like everyone works on Call of Duty style, like forcing it on them. Or like, I would say, if anything, can we strongly pitch this to people? Like, hey, if you really don't want to do this, I get it. And shout out to them for making new IP. Like NXL making new IP, fantastic.
Yeah, 100%. That was another thing I was gonna say. Like, I'm all for them being able to work on a new IP.
Indiana Jones with Avalanche.
Especially if it's one that they want to work on. Like, if
I
it
appreciate
wasn't, like, assigned to them and they went out for it. Yeah, I 100% appreciate that. I want to see what they put out there. But at the same time, like, I'm sorry, Clockwork Revolution just doesn't hit me the same as getting like 2 or remake or getting like a New Vegas 2. Outer Worlds 2 doesn't hit me the same way as a New Vegas 2.
And you know what? I respect that though, because they got to keep their own identity. They can't be like, all right, we're gonna do that. So like, I'm flip flopping a bit, but I'm like, again, can we not like just make a solid pitch to them? Like, hey, we would love for you guys to do New Vegas 2.
Yeah.
Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Even fuck it. You know what I'd be, because I'm Mr. Microsoft. I got all the money in the world. Do whatever IP you want. We'll support you. If you guys do a New Vegas 2, bonuses. Fuck it. Would anyone like a bonus? Do New Vegas 2.
Yeah, like
I mean, honestly, straight up, I would even accept like, all right, every one of our major flagship series gets like a Master Chief Collection treatment.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Where's the Gears of War one? I thought that was getting rumored for a while, and I'm like, we should be seeing it, right? We have to be getting something like that, but I don't know. It's so bizarre just the way they roll things out with that. But like, I get it too. Same time too, I'm like, we gotta surely that. I don't know. Maybe because I'm not in development enough and I'm too much of a fan connected to this stuff. But I feel like if I'm a studio like this and I had a chance at some of this IP, I'd be kind of like looking through like, you know, there's like a big Walmart bins where they got all the DVDs for like $5.
Yeah.
I'd be sipping through. I'm like,
through.
all right, what do we got? What do we got here? Before I join a new, because like I mean, like yeah, new IP is cool and all, and I appreciate that. Again, I know Clockwork Revolution.
Mm-hmm.
It is a little hard of a stick, yeah, but like I appreciate they're doing it. You guys can do a new IP, go for it. But I think like at least balance it out, kind of like Obsidian, where it's like they're kind of doing new stuff and old stuff. Like at least make it seem like you guys are doing that stuff. Like, well, I don't know, it's crazy, but there's so much we're sitting on.
Yeah, and I feel like the IPs, like a lot of them, like have the opportunity for like a fresh new take to it. because like I don't know if you kept up with it or if it's a new story, but the Prince of Persia game coming out from the Dead Cell people.
Yeah,
looks incredible. Like that shit looks
see,
so insane.
that's what I'm. But see, are there not? I can't tell. Like again, it's not really like. It's really like a higher ups what they want to do, right? Like it doesn't really matter. I'm sure the people down like at Rare would be like, I want Banjo-Kazooie. That'd be fucking incredible.
Well like, here's the thing: is like you also have. Sorry, you go ahead, Kels.
Like Larian, look at them for example. There are certain studios that will go out and shoot their shot, and maybe they won't get like Larian. They shot their shot for Baldur's Gate, and they so then they went and made Divinity Original Sin 2, and they came back calling. So I wonder like how many studios are actually out there doing.
Right, and yeah, that's a pedigree to you, but you have Microsoft money behind you, and you have the IPs already available, right? It's like, are there not more studios? Because I feel like if I was an indie studio and I could like shoot my shot at some IPs, I feel like that's kind of prestige, right? Like I get again making new IPs super fun and cool, I get that, but I feel like sometimes like the idea of like, yo, I really want my take at this kind of game. I want my take at that kind of game.
Well, that's kind of where I was going to go with it. Is I feel like, especially again with the absurd amount of IPs at this point that Microsoft owns, I'm almost surprised what they don't do is like, okay, everyone across the board, someone at some point is going to work on an existing IP. We don't care who it ends up with. You know, maybe Obsidian does get to go ahead and do another Fallout thing.
For a bonus, I think if no one's taking.
Well, here's the thing: is I'd make it mandatory. Everyone at some point is going to touch an existing IP. Either if you're like Kel said, if you have a pitch for one or you already have a passion for it, fuck it, go for it, and then you get that IP. But everyone should be touching at least one wave of an existing IP, and then the trade-off is, okay, you did your time, you gave us something new, whether it was just a continuation or a fresh take on an existing IP. Now we're gonna fund whatever the fuck you want to do next.
No, I think no, you gotta flip that. I think you can't force that on them, because if you force that on them, you're gonna get a bunch of like dragging feet on people that want to do stuff. I think make that the incentive rather than the forcing, right? So it's like, if you guys work on making this, the incentive is you guys get free reign on a new IP next time.
Well, I mean, that's effectively what we're saying. But
just don't force it. Yeah, don't tell everyone.
I think that like everyone should have to go ahead and work on an existing IP at some point. You have like 30 some odd studios.
I get that.
Whether it's all working, you know, even if you get like 5 of them to collaboratively work on like, okay, we're gonna take these 5 studios and you all work on like the Gears of War equivalent of the Master Chief Collection or the Perfect Dark equivalent of the Master Chief Collection. Right. Fuck it, you 5 all work on this. Perfect. As soon as you're done that, we will greenlight whatever the fuck individually, whatever the 5 of you want to work on.
Yeah, kind of building off what you said, like it's one of those things. It's like, why so I feel like you said, I feel like there's maybe not mandated, but they should be talking to every studio and being like, hey guys, here's our box of toys that we have. Come back in 2 weeks with a pitch. Like any pitch, pick something out of here, or like a game jam or something. I don't know how they're not like fielding, like actively looking and like fielding ideas from people with like all these studios that they have and all the creative talent. It just does. Maybe they are and we're just not seeing it, and maybe they're just feed on it, but I don't know. I don't understand. Like, because we have Bugsy, right? Bugsy's gotten like 2 games, I think, relatively recently.
Yeah.
How did that not happen for like Conker or Banjo or any of the other platforms? Like, I don't understand. Like, there's people somewhere saying, hey, we use these old IPs, but they're like picking the most random ones, I feel like.
What? But then, even then, are there not any studios out there that are indie that just like message Microsoft, hey, can we take Banjo?
Right.
Yeah, no, okay, we can't. Like, and then in which case you would see that news story, right? Yeah, we tried for Banjo, but Microsoft said no. Like, because Microsoft's been out there saying we love a new Banjo, but a team has to want that. But like, come on, I don't know, it's getting crazy.
And that's why I say like, if there's someone that he is actively interested in it, you immediately give it to them because they have the passion for it. But ultimately, I don't think that Banjo is an IP that should just be shitting at him, sitting on the shelf either. Like, whether a company really has a passion for it or not, like all right, cool. No one actually has an immediate passion for it. Fuck it. Someone should be doing something with it, even if it's and just an HD update. Fuck it. Give us a modern re-release of Banjo 1 and 2. We'll work out the fucking logistics with Nintendo where we need to, but fuck it. Something to make sure that we continue to get these IPs updated and on modern platforms in every way possible.
Yeah.
Something should come out of it. There's a bunch of Game Boy Color games for fucking Banjo that still haven't seen the light of day outside that console. Fuck it. All right, cool. You don't want to work on a brand new IP for Banjo? Go port those Game Boy Color games onto modern platforms. Call it the Game Boy Collection or whatever we can get away with again with Nintendo licensing. And there you go. The Banjo handheld collection. And we now have at least that in a modern way.
Yeah, and like, have you played Yooka-Laylee or like kept up with any of them?
I have all of them, but I haven't played them.
I played Yooka-Laylee. I got about maybe halfway in, and I just was not feeling it.
Yeah. Well, so they did the first game, and then they did
the Impossible
I forget
Lair.
what it's called. Yeah, the Impossible Lair. But the Impossible Lair is like
Donkey Kong Country.
Yeah, Donkey Kong Country essentially. So they changed the whole format, and it was way better received too. I have it. I haven't played it. It was one of the epic games I got.
I heard. Yeah, I've heard good things. I have it on Switch as well as there. So I'm like,
Yeah.
one day I'll get to it.
Exactly. So I've heard really good things about it, and like you said, I've heard negative things about the first game. I played a little bit of it too, but I dropped off as well. But it's one of those things like you can mix it up. It doesn't have to be the same thing. Like if the first one doesn't hit, or if something doesn't hit, you come back and reassess it from a different direction, and maybe it'll hit. And Microsoft is just not one to take.
Can you hear this, by the way? Hold on. No. Dang. It's one for the stream, I guess.
Oof.
Let me see if I could fix this. Let's see. Oh, that's why it was. Yeah, I didn't fix this last time. Audio, voice. Yeah, it's because this input device has to be over here. You're gonna hear. I'm gonna go quiet for a second.
Yeah.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, hold on. Now or no?
Yep.
You heard the womp womp?
Oh no, I didn't hear womp womp. My bad.
How do I? Is voice mod's up? Settings, input, then output. Oh, output needs to be.
We're still on the subject of the X-Backs, but I'm walking my fat ass on over here. And one other thought is the other reason I say that there should be a fourth segment is because think of it this way. Fable, another flagship of fucking Xbox, wasn't there for Xbox One.
It worked.
Thank you. All right.
Hell yeah. But like truly,
David comes in just gets
like,
womp womp.
Could you imagine Nintendo skipping a console generation with a flag? Could you imagine a console generation not having Mario or Kirby?
Hey,
in some capacity.
This is gonna be the first generation that technically skipped a Mario Kart.
But it had Mario
I know,
Kart.
but like we have not gotten any Mario Kart. Granted, they have those courses eventually, so cool. But can you believe there are? Because like, when did it come out? Hold on.
Dude, the 8 is sideways. That means it just keeps going. We're not getting another.
Unironically, that is correct.
They just turned into live service.
Bro,
so, I mean, fuck it.
There are kids in middle school that have never experienced a Mario Kart release.
That's funny.
It's 10 years old, David. In 5 days, it's 10 years old, actually.
Hell yeah. But, again, for flagship games.
Sure.
Like, there's no reason why Xbox One didn't have a Fable release.
Dude,
Yeah,
so...
100%.
I don't know.
Wait, was Xbox One the shitty Kinect one, or was that 360 as well?
360.
Okay.
360 is where it started, but Xbox One was the one where they're like, we're going to try to make it mandatory at launch.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
But then I don't know. We're still waiting on Perfect Dark.
We're still waiting on Perfect Dark. Honestly, we're still even waiting on Fable. It's also it's very likely we don't even get Fable until basically towards the end of this generation. There is a possibility we could see Fable 4.
David, really quick, have you got the launch edition of whatever Metaphor?
I will be grabbing that pre-order for that because that looks
do that now.
Amazing.
Do that now because it's gonna sell out.
Yeah, that looked crazy. That trailer kind of has me sold even more on it.
That trailer looks so fucking good, and honestly, I'm so stoked they confirmed that even though it does have social links, none of them are romance social links.
Oh, okay.
Fucking perfect.
If you want the collector's edition, it's only available for Xbox now.
If you want the launch I don't think edition, I want the collector's edition.
You want launch edition? Get it now because it will sell out, I believe. Because Xbox launch edition is no longer.
The combat looked really interesting too, because it looks like it's like the hybrid combat, like Final Fantasy 12 style shit like that.
Yeah.
And a turn based. It looked like you had like a squad option or something. You could call in a teammate and like do like some kind of synchronized attack. I don't know. It looked really cool.
It looks so cool. I'm fucking stoked for it. It's a lot of SMT veterans, but predominantly a lot of the combat developers were and design developers were Persona 5.
One part that really made me excited, he went and like it was a small moment in the trailer. He hits like the vendor and you see the big list of weapons. I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love having like the wide variety of stuff.
Oh, I forgot what my train of thought was. Anyway. Random thing we mentioned earlier, but who is this guy? Hold on.
Pat Sajak.
The creator of Deadpool said that Deadpool 3 has the best action sequences for an MCU film since The Winter Soldier.
Yeah. That's interesting.
I guess
I'm really hyped happening.
Because someone mentioned in the comments that, I mean, you got two characters that constantly regenerate could make for some really sick fight scenes.
Yeah.
They had that. They showed that the are you talking about the Spider-Man reference?
No, I was gonna mention another reference, but you continue with that real quick.
The way that Wolverine's swinging at Deadpool in there is literally the exact same swinging that the bully does against Spider-Man or against Peter Parker in Spider-Man 1.
That's funny.
It's a hell of a callback.
No, the reference I was gonna bring up is I forgot to bring this up earlier. But in the trailer, when you look behind Wolverine and Deadpool during one of the shots, there's a Liefeld's Feet Emporium.
Yeah, it's like feet only or something like that.
Yeah, pointing out the fact that Liefeld is notorious for being shit at drawing feet, so he just almost never did if he could avoid it.
Hey, random shout out that freaked me out when we were talking earlier. Yo, Iggy's Wrecking Balls is on 64 Switch Online expansion pack. Fucking amazing game. I love that game. That game I rented so much. I got my own copy of it. Love that game. Online, that game's gonna go so hard. So, if anyone has a S4 expansion pack and wants to play online on that game, hit me up. I'm so down. Literally, never would have expected that. That's a deep cut. Let's see. I ordered two.
Yeah, just kind of capping off what you were talking about with Fable before we.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Yeah. I think Fable might be a ways off too, because we haven't seen, all we've gotten was that cinematic, right?
Yeah.
Or we've gotten like two cinematics, like we got the one.
We've gotten like two teaser cinematics. Yeah. Still not even like a proper gameplay introduction. Well,
they mentioned they were like they think that it was revealed too early, and they made a second one to like shut people up because like we're still making it. Yeah. It's interesting. I don't know. I remember hearing about when Playground Games was doing it. I'm like, that's wild. It's a studio from Europe, so they get the British humor right, but it's like, it's they do the Forza. Guys? Yeah, they do Forza. They have technically the best pedigree of any Xbox game studio right now. But that's a hell of a genre change. Go from if they nail that, they could be the most flexible studio that's in video games.
Yeah, and it's one. So, like, my theory is, I think it's gonna, like David was saying, I fully believe it's not gonna be on this generation. I'm kind of expecting it to be the Series X2 or whatever the fuck comes next. The
or at
USB
least like
plug-in.
cross gen. It's
Yeah.
not going to be strictly just this gen at all.
No, I don't see it happening.
I don't know. I feel like Microsoft's kind of learning some things, and I feel like they're more prone to be open to shadow dropping. Not shadow dropping, but like dropping games really close to release date now. Because you think about
cool.
when's Senua's Saga coming out?
Oh yeah, that's like within a month. I think it's next month.
Oh fuck, is it?
That's what I'm saying. So they kind of dropped
Is
that.
that
Like,
even getting a physical?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Oh, gross. All right.
I think when did they let's see. Yeah, they announced it in January that it was gonna drop in May. And there were people thinking like that might have been like some like projected like November, October game. So I
using it for a long ass time. We've seen so many trailers.
Right. That was the first one we saw.
Yeah.
Of the Xbox. So I have a feeling they're now holding their cards close to their chest, and like, because you got to figure that these zeitgeist windows are kind of smaller in time now, right? Like, you don't want to announce these games so far off that people are waiting forever. Because now they're going to be demanding it forever, right? Like, I think Sony kind of misstepped by showing Wolverine so early when it's still so far off. So I would, let's say this. Do I deep down in my heart think it's coming out soonish in whatever way you want to define that word? No, but would I be totally shocked and odd if like they didn't show like in June Fable's out this year? I wouldn't be surprised. I have a feeling they're just keeping their cards close to their chest because of a lot of things that transpired with all that.
Genuinely, I would be shocked if we saw Fable 4 in the next 3 years.
Yeah.
I would be shocked if it was the next 4 years.
I wonder. I'm gonna look it up. Have we heard anything from anyone about that, or they're like even passing interviews?
I think the last time we saw any kind of air quotes footage for it was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was again still just like CGI trailer.
It
They're
was
like, yeah, we're still working on it.
I forget the actor's name from the AV Club.
Chumbawamba.
Yep, that's him. That's the British dude, Chumbawamba.
So, as of 13 months ago, the game was in early stages of full production.
Ow.
What does that even mean?
That's a weird thing because that can mean a lot of things for a lot of people, right? When people hit production time, like full production, sometimes that means like they just fucking knock things out like crazy, like you'd be shocked. But other times, early production could also just mean a long time. So I don't know what that means, but yeah, they said.
I was gonna say, like, is that alpha stage? Is that beta stage? Like,
right? So I don't know, but that puts me not 3 years ahead. I think it has to be a little bit less than that, but who knows? And let me see
I'm
for Perfect
hoping
Dark.
it's less than that, but my cynical brain thinks it's gonna be that. See, in Perfect Dark, I think there was a leak that it was like internally rooted or something like that, like Jason Schreier or someone said.
Yeah.
So I think Perfect Dark's even further. I think it's definitely 5+ years.
Yeah, so it's.
I think if we don't see a gameplay trailer this year for Fable, it's not happening in the next 3 years.
I'll join them. I think Game Awards, if we don't see a trailer by then, it's gonna be 3 years at least.
Because Game Awards is December, so if we're not seeing anything,
we didn't
by
see
December,
anything from Microsoft in December though.
No, it was crazy. Yeah,
We didn't see anything from Microsoft in December, and they came out with their January thing. That's where they shadow dropped Hi-Fi Rush, and gave the Hellblade 2 release date for 5 months from there.
Yeah, but Fable's not something you shadow drop. There's
no, but neither is Hellblade
Fable.
2. But they didn't show Hellblade 2 at Game
I'd
Awards.
argue Hellblade 2 is as impressive as Hellblade 1 was. It doesn't have the same pedigree that Fable does. You're talking about going back to the origin of the console.
I'm gonna say something you're not gonna like, but let me Kels go first.
I feel like Hellblade has had like a lot of build up to where it's been at now. Like we've had a lot of trailer drop stuff, and so far with Fable, we've had like 2 teasers. So I feel like it's still on track, even if they do like skip this year and then shadow drop it next year. I feel like we should at least still see something more from them. Gameplay, another trailer or something.
Hey, I'm gonna say something that David doesn't like. I don't feel like Fable has the right feel around it than you think it does.
I'd say now, just because it's lost a lot of cachet, it's been gone for a while.
It literally
Like,
the last one is you're talking Fable 3 is the last real one. That was what, 2010?
Yeah, it was 360.
Yeah.
A lot of people's frame of reference is going to be the shitty Connect one, or what, Fable Legends.
Fable
Wasn't there,
Legends is
Yeah, the like
one.
weird tower defense one they had.
Yeah.
Fable Fortune.
So that's gonna be like, yeah, that's gonna be a lot of people's like frame of reference for it. They're not gonna think like Jack of Spades or anyone from Fable 1 or 2.
Fable Fortune is a free-to-play digital collectible card game.
Okay, never.
That was in
even heard
2017. So I mean that like there, I don't think Fable has the big punching name it does. I think when it comes out, assuming they put the love into it, I think it'll do well. But I don't think the pedigree is there anymore. I think, and I don't think Zeitgeist for Hellblade 2 is necessarily more, but I do think that that's kind of something they'll lean more towards. Is like, we showed this off twice. Literally, we only seen Hellblade 2 twice, and then dropped 5 months after the second time it was shown, right? Or no, the third time, because that was at the actual showcase where they showed the release date. So 3 times total, whereas Fable has been shown off twice. So I don't know. And Perfect Dark.
I see your logic.
I see it too. I'm just very cynical.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bite myself with a lot of that, but I just, there has to be some sort of shakeup in the way they announce things. And I just don't.
Has to be.
Microsoft doesn't traditionally do things anymore, right? Like the most like Halo wasn't released traditionally, right? It was released like
right
multiplayer, then campaign. Hi-Fi Rush Shadow dropped. Hellblade 2 is kind of like shown off and did not get that big window. Like Microsoft itself is weird in how it does things now. That's why I just don't see the. I mean, I'm surprised we didn't see like genuinely with Hellblade dropping in May. How did we not see Hellblade 2 at the Game Awards? Right, like that's where it debuted. You like that makes the most sense to me, but like they didn't show that. They showed off the next month in January at a developer thing for them, and then they showed the release date. Like it's weird the way they do things now. So I'm trying to think non-traditionally with Microsoft, and I think
the time slot that they wanted for the Game Awards, those are Kojima.
Yeah, it took 40 minutes of those. But I will say, so for example, another way to prove my point. I'm reading this right now. I don't remember hearing this say after they said 2022 initiative partnered with Crystal Dynamics and they restarted development with Unreal Engine 5. Is there plans to make the game follow an episodic format, but it could still change before release?
Gross.
It is very gross.
Yeah,
but
that sounds like they still don't have a firm idea of what they want.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here. I hated that shit with Hitman. Hitman 1, 2, and I can't remember if 3 did the episodes, but fuck out of here with that.
Yeah, so like as of last year, they mentioned that Perfect Dark's years away because of that. But like I just the way they're doing things is so funky, especially with Game Pass, right? Because technically, you like shadow drops with Game Pass, like they have no physical release with Hellblade. You want the people to come back to your subscription or feel like they should never let go of your subscription because you might drop something, as opposed to like, all right, Hellblade's in 5 months. I don't got anything to play in 5 months. I'll let the subscription lapse until May when I can get Hellblade 2. I feel like you kind of like favor more like quick and speedier release dates between the windows of that and don't give people an excuse to remove their subscription until then. I remember an interview way back when they're talking about Game Pass. Their original plan for Game Pass was they wanted a big AAA game every quarter.
Yeah.
And I could see that ramping up to that point. Eventually now we got 14,000 studios. We should be hitting that. But until then, I just don't... I don't see the big thing in them saying in June, Fable is out next year. Because it's like if someone's like waiting for that, it gives all it needs is like one person to like, all right, cool, I don't really give a shit about Game Pass until then, right? They want you to keep your subscription there. And how do they do that? I think Shadow Drops are the big way too. I think Shadow Drops, everyone's like, oh cool, I can play Hi-Fi Rush today, or I could play this game, that game, whatever. I think that's kind of what it is. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I think some of these big...
Yeah, no, you go ahead.
Yeah, so going back to what I was talking about with Prince of Persia, I think if they would take the... And it goes back to what you were saying about pitching, like, all these toy boxes, all the toys in the toy box. Like, there's plenty of IP there. You can make smaller games. It's like the meme. I want smaller games that look worse. Less people having to work on it. Give it to me. You could take Call of Duty and make, like, a Solid Slug game, style game or something out of it. I don't know.
Yeah, well, because, again, like... Actually, that's like a perfect example. Imagine doing fucking like COD Metal Slug.
Yeah.
Like, just here you go. Here's like fucking soap and
Ghost and Captain Price. They're
here you go. All
4 buddies go shoot.
There you go. It's just them in a Metal Slug coat of paint, or fucking like literally bring back the spirit of fucking Xbox Live Arcade.
Like twin stick shooter Halo again. Like where's the
do a new one of those.
Yeah.
Fucking like fucking oh man, there was a good one that came to mind, but like truly just fuck it, just pitch a bunch of like, all right, again, needs to be something. If you don't already have an idea for it, we're just gonna go down the list, but get fucking weird with it, you know, like. Say what you want about like Sega and shit, but like the last few years they've done a lot of like fun weird shit on like April Fool's Day. We got the murder mystery Sonic game. Yeah. We got the Yakuza.
Shadow Drops are the greatest, dude. I love Shadow Drops.
That's not at all what we're talking about.
Yeah, Shadow Drop Sonic some more, dude.
But you know, fucking just give studios just like. Hey, it doesn't have to be a big fucking AAA experience, but just make some weird fucking shit. Just be creative. Doesn't matter how it ends up. Just fucking do something with it.
Yeah, you said earlier AAA games every quarter. Where do you think the quadruple A fits in? Is that annually?
Yeah, where are we getting more of these Skull and Bones style releases?
You have to hit up Indonesia for the money first. I still think that's so funny. That game was forced to release because they took so much money from. I think it was either Indonesia or like the Philippines government.
Yeah, it's some kind of government mandate where basically they owe the government so much that they're like, "Fuck it, we contractually have to release this."
Like Kings of Amalur and was it Delaware or something?
Yeah. Or was it Boston?
It was state.
It was some state that is actually known for its baseball, and I don't know shit about baseball. The only thing I know about baseball is Yankees as a team, I think.
Yeah.
And Red Sox is a team.
Oh yeah, that's a team.
White Sox is a team. And that is what I know of baseball. Oh wait, Cardinals. I think Cardinals is a team.
Rhode Island.
Rhode Island Cardinals.
They own Kingdom Hearts. Not Kingdom Hearts, Kingdom Amalur.
They own Kingdom Hearts. The state of Rhode Island.
They do. I accidentally bought. I did the thing where I pre-ordered something on Amazon and forgot about it. So I got in the mail 2 of those new guitars that play with all the music games now.
Yeah, I've been like, we need a review on them. I was looking at those.
Yeah, I need to return one of them. I got one for each console. I was like, I'll figure out what console I want later. I keep forgetting. It was like right now. So I'll keep the Xbox One because it plays PC as well.
Yeah.
PlayStation 1 can sometimes do PC, but apparently not fully compatible, which is weird. So I'm going to do that. Hey, I want to give a shout out. David and Kels, you guys would like this. It's super cool. So Pirate Software, the makers of Heartbound. Have you guys heard of that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You've heard of it.
I just follow this dude on Twitch and stuff. He's really cool.
Yeah. So
I watch his YouTube shorts all the time.
He's a developer of this game called Heartbound. It's actually got pretty solid reviews on
you might know him better. He's a former Blizzard dev.
Okay.
After all the shit was coming out about them during the acquisition, he was like a really vocal dude, like coming out talking about like his experiences at Blizzard. I think his thing was cybersecurity, having something to do with that. So he was on that end of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you've been intriguing my interest quite a bit then.
So, well, they make some games, so including I think Hardbound is their biggest one. Well reviewed. I have it. I've not played. I think it's still early access, or might be coming out soon. It's one of those been in early access for a while, but it's got really strong reviews. Announced today that all their U.S. employees, including mods, are getting full benefits, including medical, dental, life insurance, and a retirement account.
Hell yeah.
International employees will receive identical pay as they refuse to pay anyone less.
Yeah. Good shit.
Big shout out to them.
There's a little bit more to it too, because did you see recently Twitch changed their hype train? They like made it like they added a higher cap to it.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Really?
Yeah, they added a higher cap to the hype train, and Pirate Software, the streamer that we're talking about, he broke the new record for the hype train.
Nice.
So I think that's like and he's been gaining just like a lot of traction elsewhere too. I think he's been pulling a lot of people over from YouTube and TikTok and stuff like that, especially with all the engagement he's been getting.
Nice.
So he's just like popped off on Twitch.
Good shit.
Yeah.
Now everyone's like Pirate Software, more ethical than big companies. Kind of ironic with the name.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why a very popular book for a while was called "Steal This Book." But truly, again, I've said it before on this podcast. I will say it on every episode of this podcast. Piracy is always ethical.
Yeah, for sure. And see, one of the crazy things about it too is like you have this guy. He's like, yeah, every mod's getting full benefits. They're getting a retirement. They're getting paid appropriately. And then you have people like the Kai Cenats or like the random top 5 streamer. They're like, yeah, I don't pay my. Like XQC like brags about not paying his mod. It's like, how the fuck do you sleep at night? I don't understand. Like these people like flex how much they make. They're gambling on stream, doing all this crazy shit, and then like, yo, yeah, I won't pay this person.
I also just struggle to wonder why people want to mod for them though. I'm
exactly.
I mean, I get it too. Probably they feel closer to that, but it's so parasocial. I'm good.
Or you have people like Logan Paul who wants to make it big in WWE, but it's too much of a cut to let wrestlers actually shoot on him during promos, to where Kevin Owens has to point out the fact that he's too much of a bitch to go ahead and actually contractually obligated, because he's been feuding with Kevin Owens lately. Kevin Owens actually pointed out during a promo, he's like, yeah, you're too much of a bitch to actually let me go ahead and fucking say the shit I want to say about you. So here's what I'm legally allowed to say.
Did you guys see? David would have known about this because you might. I think we kind of have similar Twitter trends. You see about Watcher this last weekend?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
David, you know this too, all right?
Yeah. Stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just watched his video about the
backtracking.
The apology. Yep.
Yeah. There's a handful of people that do that. So I follow Trilogy Media, and I gave them a 7-day trial. I let it lapse for a month just because I'm like, I don't mind supporting them a little bit. They do a bunch of those scam bait stuff. And they travel all over the world for that kind of stuff. And the videos are pretty interesting. A little bit, they cross the line a little bit too much sometimes for me to feel like actively like cheer them. I'm okay with them, but they cross the line a little bit too much. And I'm like, all right, this is why I'm not giving you guys like fully shout outs, because like I can't fully endorse every single thing all the time, but
right.
They did do good enough to get a few of my bucks. But yeah, Watcher was interesting, and that I don't know. In a world where everyone's complaining about how many subscription things they have, you want to add to that's wild to me, especially on top of a Patreon. Like, close one down if you want that. Close the Patreon down, open that up.
That, and just like how they're doing it's so weird to me, because like does it as well. But what they do is they like all their stuff still goes on YouTube, but they'll like trim stuff down, or stuff that like they have to cut just due to like terms of service and stuff,
right,
like cussing or stuff like that. Because a lot of times, like their whole thing, they'll do like VFX, artist react, and they'll do like super gory stuff. But it's like, oh, we can't show this. Subscribe to blah blah blah.
Yeah, go to the Patreon for the uncut version, kind of thing.
Exactly. So it's a little bit different, because from what I'm aware, Watcher, they're putting like previews or something, or like 1 or 2 videos, and everything else would be like on their website. So it's a little bit more of like, yeah, you don't you don't even get a taste of it. You have to kind of go pay and hop in there on top of Patreon, and they had, was it like a proprietary website or something?
Yeah, they had their own
No,
website.
I want to say, yeah.
Yep, which is where that would all funnel in. But then Moist Critical makes the point. It's like they do have a lot of outlets for money. You got to wonder why you would do that in saying you need more support, because like you shouldn't need that much. And to Moist Critical's effect, like he does do a lot. He mentioned, he's like, I have all this. I have an esports league which makes no fucking money.
No.
He's like, he pays like he said on minimum. He pays them what, $10K a month each at least. That was the lowest that he said he pays each person at least.
Yeah, I was watching his stream because someone pointed out, because people were trying to argue for Watcher. They're like, they employ 22 people, and Moisty's like, yeah, I employ more than that, and I'm not doing this.
Right, he's doing.
Like, it's not an issue for me.
Yeah, he's doing that. He's well, he has his own company and stuff like that too. But
yeah,
I mean, I feel like I like him a lot. I think he's one of the more more down to earth, but also one sec.
No, I definitely agree with you. He's definitely a little bit more down to earth. He's your typical dude, bro.
I'd hang out with him.
So, yeah, I'd kick it with him. I feel like
he's someone I would probably get a beer or two with. You know, I wouldn't necessarily put him in the homie category, but like if he was added as like, all right, we're mixing friend groups here, I wouldn't like not talk to him with a couple beers.
You know what though,
that abhorrent about him that's gonna make me like.
I'm not
shy away.
In the least parasocial way possible. I put him in the homie category just because of how much he can keep up with things when it comes to like that podcast I was mentioning in the red thread. When he keeps up with like his banter with like Wendigoon and everything is up my alley enough to be like, I can vibe with that kind of mesh. But I also it's probably just because we're old, right? But we don't I don't harbor that parasocial thing anymore. I'm like I don't. Oh, which by the way, David, I need to retract from like 20 episodes ago. Not even 20 episodes, like maybe 10 or 15. I think that whole thing with Mandela Catalog got debunked.
Did it?
I believe so. I think.
About it being.
I mean, that would be good if it did.
I believe so, because I saw a handful of people, big creators, retracting their statements. I saw him posting again. And I think the person that initially posted all that stuff deactivated their account.
Fascinating. I'll have to go look back into that at some point, because those are some fucking heavy allegations.
Yeah. Not to roll into that too, but I just it's it's not really my thing to say, right? But it's like one of those things, like if you're gonna make a shot, it's got to be something of matter. It's like, because I see some occasionally I'll see one of those like posts that like you should see twit long, and you're like, all right, here we go. You dive in and you're just like, I mean, they're kind of a shitty boyfriend or a shitty girlfriend, but I mean that's just about it. Like you can't lump them in. It's more like one of those like, oh well, you live, you learn, you met someone kind of lame and move on. It's not like a whole like tear down their profile and make them lose everything. It's like, no, they were just kind of a shithead. It sucks, but not destroy their entire career worthy, I think.
I mean, still, depending on like the degree of someone being a shithead, it's still enough to be like, there's fucking enough media out there. I don't need to support someone that's a shithead either. But like at the same time, like I've been a shithead a lot of my life.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say. Is one, especially at that age, right? I'm like, I'm sure I'm man, especially when it comes to like high school and even maybe like a little tiny bit prior, but mostly high school. I'm like so glad there were not phones in there, because I would have been. I definitely had my edgy jokes back then. I was like,
if any of our old Skype calls had recordings,
I have a lot of recording of our old Skype calls. I have a lot of recordings of our old Skype calls. They are. Don't say that, David. I've got them. I got nuke buttons for all of us, baby. I've got nuke buttons for all of us. Someone takes me down, you're going down.
Whoever, hide the guns.
Hide the guns. If you know, you know. No, I do have a lot of those, but I'm talking like even like. I remember like at high school, I would say the dumbest edgy jokes ever.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, like obviously growing up, it's like I've worked a long way to get to where I'm at, where I feel pretty solid as me as a person, and and it's like, yeah, as a partner too, I feel like I've grown a lot better than where I was before. I think I can go back in my old relationships. I'm like, I could have done a lot better than I could have been a lot better of a person. But I was 21 or 22, and I was figuring myself out still. So shout out to them. My bad. But nothing like heinous on there. But like, just stuff you learn where you're like, yeah, I could have not been like a dickhead or something like that. And that's something that people gotta.
There's a lot learn. That because because there's a big difference between like being a genuine piece of shit and like going through a learning experience. And I think especially when you hit your 30s, that is a point where you realize, because there's some shit where like when I thought I was older and more mature when in my mid 20s, now starting to approach my mid 30s, I'm like, no, I was still a dumb fucking kid. Holy shit.
Yep. I think in the 30s is a solid way where, I mean, but then again, we're gonna come back at like 40 or 50. You're like, damn, I was a child back then, still at 30.
Yeah.
It's kind of the way life works. But yeah, no, I definitely have even the last 5 years, like, I mean, in the span of this podcast, right? Like, we had different vibes about us, and you keep growing. But I think
true. I still smoked back then.
You're a terrible person, and you had like a piss yellow tint over your camera at the beginning too.
Ooh, the Mexican filter.
I also had a different colored wall back then.
Mm-hmm.
I also didn't have a fucking scar on my wall because of fucking Atbacky.
That was because of you.
No, I blame Atbacky for that.
Atbacky not only made you leave the podcast and walk off, but also made you put a small mark on your wall.
It's true.
Shout out to them.
Atbacky's kind of a piece of shit when you think about it.
What an asshole.
Oh man. It's what's kind of funny is like what I'm realizing is like I feel I look a lot younger than I actually am. I still feel very young, a lot younger than I actually am, but I feel like the maturity wise it's kind of offset that. But it's always funny, like I mentioned, my students don't know my age. They don't know I'm there. I'm excited. In a couple weeks, they're gonna ask me, and they're gonna fucking give me that shocked eyes look that made me feel really shitty. I'll never forget the first time I started that role right when I started high school with them. Like, how old are you? I'm like, I'll tell you at graduation. And I didn't think they would remember that. Sure enough, at graduation, I'm walking around saying my goodbyes to them, and a few of them come running up to me. How old are you? I'm like, Jesus Christ. And one of them, I'll never forget. His name's Dylan. One of them comes to me. He's like, how old are you? I'm like, I'm 30. He's like, you're 30? Dude, he moves like aside, like almost like a cartoon moment. Moves aside, dude, my dad's 40, and you don't look anything like him. I'm like, yeah, it's because you're his son, dude. You've aged him. You have aged that man.
I'm just imagining like them doing the soy jack meme though.
It's almost like it was, yeah. That's almost how it was, like the cartoon moment. Like you couldn't see his dad there. He moved aside, points at him like that. It's like he's 40, and I'm like, yeah, you've aged him, man.
Holy, oh, that was fucking rough. God damn, you murdered that child.
Yeah, it's funny. I get reactions from parents and students alike where I'm like, yeah, I don't know at this point. I definitely have the younger look to me. I also dress a little bit younger, which is fair. Sometimes I'm rocking his ripped jeans in a band tee, but I'm like, whatever. I got blessed with vampire blood, so we're good. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm gonna see some reactions. The other week, one girl keeps trying. I'm like, you already had your guess, so you're not getting any more. But every like 2 or 3 months she'll try again, and she's a junior, so she's asking this thing. She's like, just message me whatever he tells you. I want to know after you graduate. Just message me. And she looks at me. She's like, you're 28. I'm like, you already got your guess. You don't get to know until after graduation. She's like, you're not 30. That's too fucking old. I just keep a straight face during it in the back of my head. I'm like, fuck off. One of the first things I heard was when they were guessing their numbers, throwing numbers out because I make them agree on a guess. I'm like, you guys can't get all different numbers. A guess is a unit, and then they're thrown around. And I remember the first year. This is when I was 29, and they're like, I don't know, 25, 20, 26. What did the other class guess? Oh, I asked them. They said they guessed 27. Let's just get something really fucking old. Let's guess 30. 30. I'm like, nope. Back of my head, I'm like, you fucking assholes. Come on. I told you that. I think you weren't here when I told this because I don't know if you heard it, but they're talking to one of my coworkers, and he's like a couple years older than me. He's like, yeah, I was born in like 1988 or 1987. Well, I think it was 88. I'm like, whoa, you were born in the 1900s? They say the worst things, dude. And still, never. I tell everyone though, this is my favorite story of all time. It's gonna be hard pressed to top this story. I'm so glad to. It was doing the Wayback Machine, letting them do some research on old internet back then, and just my hearing is still rock solid. So I hear two kids whisper in the other half, like other side of the classroom. One whispers to the other, "What's an AOL?" No, yeah, what's an AOL? I'm like, oh shit. Let's sit down. Grandpa's got some stories to tell you about the old days.
In the day, you have to pay by the minute for your internet, and it came on CD-ROM drives.
Let me play you a noise me and the boys knew back then. Oh man.
You ever access the internet through a home telephone?
Did you know back
you couldn't be on the internet and on your phone at the same time?
You had to pick one. And when your mom and dad said they needed the phone, you got the fuck off. Back then, titties only loaded at 56K. You stuck with what you got.
10 minutes for a 50 by 50 JPEG of Eris tit. But back then she was Eris. So you had to wait 10 minutes for a 50 by 50 JPEG of Eris's tit.
And you liked what you got and you were thankful for it.
It would load in one frame at a time. It was like slowly scrolling through Reddit, where you just see a little bit appearing each and every moment. Imagine jacking off to a fucking printer, just watching that picture go through the bottom, but it took 10 minutes. It was the worst edging of your life if someone called you.
If mama said get off the internet, you didn't get shit. Back in my day, we swapped this to channel 99, and we hope and prayed to all the gods that we saw something. They got it good these days, dude. I don't know. Anyway. Video games.
Good times.
Shout outs to those. If Calzano, have you ever played Emily is Away?
Emily is Away. I think so. Is that horror?
No, it's not a horror game.
Oh, okay.
Let me double check to see if they're on there. Emily is Away is aim-based.
Like a visual novel, basically.
Okay, yeah.
You're thinking of Emily Wants to Play. I know what you're talking about.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, they're like visual novel, but you're in an AIM messenger screen. First game's free. Both games are on sale right now. The second game's $1 and third game is $2. I would highly recommend if you have nostalgia for like AOL and like that kind of thing.
MSN, Messenger.
Yeah, if you have nostalgia for that, I would highly recommend that. And then watch Kind of Funny drunk playthrough of that, where they play through like all of 1 and they play through all of 2 in like a 4-hour playthrough, and they just get progressively more and more drunk and loud as the game goes on. But highly recommend those. You might, I don't know. You said your wife's kind of gaming, right?
Yeah.
If you want to ask, how old is the wife?
28. So she's like right there too.
In the same realm. So I would say try to run through Emily is Away with them. See if they have that kind of connection with that, because they're so fun to play through with other people. And Emily is Away is pretty basic, and you can get done with it pretty quick. I actually make my students play it too. Emily is Away 2 is the same kind of thing, but like split. So you're talking to two different people, and there's that kind of a story that goes on there. Emily is Away 3 is a lot more. They get bigger and bigger, but Emily is Away 3 is like a lot more people. But also it mixes in old Facebook and old YouTube along there too. So it'll like link to old YouTube clips that were viral back then, which is super fun. So you got like Leave Britney Alone, Urban Ninja, the Michael Jackson prison dance, all that stuff. Like you got like all the videos that it links to using the old YouTube layout, which is super cool. So big shout outs to those games. There you go. We brought it back to games eventually. Anyway, I think that's about it, right? We didn't miss anything else that's impertinent. I think we could dip out.
I feel like there's like a lot of like random new shit. Let me just check my Twitter feed real quick. I feel like anything that was that big I would have retweeted. So let me scroll through here. G Gundam is getting a new fucking side series, which is wild to me. Other than that, yeah, no, I'm not seeing anything that crazy.
All right, we can dip out here. Yeah. It's a 3.5 hour podcast again.
Hell yeah!
One day, Kel's wife's gonna ask, "What are you doing in that room for 3 hours a week now?"
Oh, she's used to it. I'm usually if it's not this, I'm gaming or doing something else.
All right, so we'll cut your backlog down a little bit too by adding all this extraordinary time on there. No, I think I'm good. All right, yeah. I don't see any more gaps in podcasts should be happening, but all right. I don't know who's in chat. It said we have a few viewers in there, so dip out. We'll dip out on there. Let's see. Podcast part done.